absolutely gorgeous June day in New York City, and out in Flushing at Citi Field, this is what it's all about, huh? The sunshine is out, great weather, and the Mets have their shortstop back, Jose Reyes, back from the Dominican Republic in the starting lineup tonight. Fans, of course, as you would expect, coming to see him. Pose for your pictures, get your programs, and well, get your pipe, I guess. Dog days of summer are upon us. It's the Mets and the Pittsburgh Pirates today from Citi Field in New York. And today's game presented in HD by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. Hi, everyone, and welcome inside Citi Field. Gorgeous day, windy day today, but nonetheless fit for baseball as the Mets take on the Pittsburgh Pirates, trying to change up their luck on this homestand. On this 10-game stand, the Mets so far are 2-4. Every game they've lost has been late, and it's been a big problem for this team. Last night, really the culmination of all things that have ailed this team lately. Fielding, mental mistakes, and the Mets just not getting it done late as they let up 5 runs in one of the wackiest innings you'll ever see in the 7th last night and go on and get waxed by the Pirates. After the game, Terry Collins let loose, showing his frustration in the media. After a quick team meeting, I asked Terry about that 7th.
I'm sick of trying to describe 7th innings. It's about 5 in a row. I'm sick of trying to describe them. Kid pitched his butt off tonight. Well, they get 8 hits, 7 infield hits, and we look up and we're behind. That's what I thought about the 7th inning. I'm running out of ideas here. I mean, you know, do we play hard? Absolutely. That's not the issue. The issue is not effort. That's not it. It's about execution. I don't have the answers. I'm searching, and I'm wringing the rag dry of coming in here and, you know, looking at you guys and having you look at me like I'm a stinking fool. And I told these guys, we're good enough. We got to go play the game right, and we just can't continue to make foolish mistakes. I mean, that's all.
Terry made it perfectly clear it wasn't about effort, it was about execution. As we bring in Ron Darling from upstairs in the booth. So, Ron, take us inside the player's mind. Terry has not shown this side of him all year. When he finally does last night, does it make a difference, and do you hear that message?
Well, I think when you're sitting in the clubhouse, Kevin, you are a bit embarrassed. If you're a rookie, you don't have a lot of time. You're afraid for your job. And I think really what he's fighting is a resignation, that snowball effect can sometimes affect a team because you get this theme of losing late where you go, here we go again. What's going to happen? And I think even more importantly, when you have to deal with this stuff in the clubhouse, you try to nip it in the bud. Why? Because this is the time of year when you're not winning 5 games under 500 that you want to stop any of the finger pointing. You want more of the mirror looking. You want guys to look in the mirror and say to themselves, what can I do tomorrow to help the team win? And I think that's where he's trying to set this team on.
Well, Ronnie, the one thing that hasn't been a problem is starting pitching. Capuano was fantastic last night. Mike Pelfrey has been terrific lately. He gets the ball today.
Well, Pelfrey's coming off, I think, his best effort all season long. 7 2/3, just a couple of runs. Put the Mets in a great position against a team he has struggled against, the Phillies, and going against today Paul Maholm, who is much better than his 2-7 record, coming off a 91-pitch complete game shutout effort against the Chicago Cubs. Maholm better than his 2-7.
Well, Terry Collins hoping his Mets get the message, play a crisp, clean game, try and even this 4-game set with the Pirates. First pitch is next. fast and HD free with IOTV. By Verizon 4G LTE, built so you can rule the air. By Pepsi Max, 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. By Cholula Hot Sauce, looking for the perfect balance of flavor and heat? Well, add Cholula to your next meal. The hot sauce with the wooden cap. And by Bob's Discount Furniture, proud to be the furniture store of the New York Mets. Tickets for the inaugural soccer match at Citi Field featuring the national teams from Ecuador and Greece this Tuesday at 8. They're on sale now. Call 718-507-TIXX. Or you can visit 507TIXX.com now for all your tickets. As we take a look at the long-haul bombers hitting some shots here at Citi Field. Mets hoping to take their cues from that. See if they can knock off the Pirates. Gary and Ron have the call coming up next.
Pirates, who've won 2 of the first 3 in this series. Xavier Paul, who had 2 big hits off the bench last night for the Pirates, including the go-ahead hit, gets a rare start in right field. Jose Tabata gets the day off. Lyle Overbay had a good night last night as well, as the Pirates rallied for 5 in the 7th and 4 in the 8th. And Mike Pelfrey, who pitched into the 8th in his last start, will take them out for the Mets.
What I was really impressed about Mike in his last game, 6 strikeouts, but also it was against the Phillies, who have really been his nemesis. The NL East has been his nemesis, but he was outstanding in his last start.
Hi, Ronnie.
How are you doing, Gary?
I'm Gary. Nice to be here. Beautiful day.
Did you redo your contract or something?
You know, get those 10 minutes off. They all add up over the course of the season.
Here you go.
Well, Pelfrey was brilliant against the Phillies. Pitched till 2 out in the 8th. Gave up a hit. Was pulled from the game at that point. The bullpen melted down. And that's really been the theme on this homestand. The Mets have lost 4 games, all of which they had leads in the 7th inning or later. First pitch to Xavier Paul, in for a strike. And in fact, their previous home loss against the Marlins in the middle of May was also a loss in which they had a lead going into the 7th inning. And so their last 5 home games they've all lost in similar fashion. And in fact, that streak of 5 straight home losses, all in which you had a lead 7th inning or later, that ties a major league record. Nobody's ever done it in more consecutive home losses than that. So you can understand why Terry Collins was so upset. Paul drops down a bunt. Pelfrey with the bare hand play and the short hop throw, and Paul is safe at first base. So this one starting the way the 7th inning went last night.
Well, it was a very interesting bunt, as Paul might have been out there at first base. That one hopper from Pelfrey, nice play by Evans. He kind of chopped at that ball, and it had backspin on it. That ball never got to Pelfrey.
It certainly looked as though he was out, assuming that Evans's foot was on the base. Paul Nart, the first base umpire, did not indicate that Evans came off the bag. And if he didn't, then it certainly appeared Paul was out.
Yeah, well, he was out.
And by a significant margin. So the Mets are the victims of a bad call to start the game. Josh Harrison, the batter. Paul runs, and it's mishandled by Paulino, and Paul has a stolen base.
Bunt hit and another infield hit for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and Xavier Paul, who's brought a lot of energy, by the way, in this 4-game series, steals second base. Energy, energy, energy can win these day games sometimes after night games.
4th stolen base of the year for Paul, so an immediate mess for Pelfrey. And Harrison takes up an end, 1-1.
Well, Xavier Paul got a big jump. Paulino knew it and was really trying to rush the throw. Footwork was good, but could not find a handle.
So Paul is at second. Jose Reyes playing right behind him. Reyes back in the fold today after 3 games away. And it's hit out to center field. That's going to fall for a base hit. Paul got a late start, so he'll go to third and stop there. And so the Pirates, just like that, have first and third and nobody out. So Josh Harrison, who's made his major league debut in this series, continues to impress.
Well, here's the city's Mets defense. Bay, Pagan, and Beltran in the outfield. Beltran, day game after a night game. Turner, Reyes, Tejada at second base today. Evans at first. And Ronnie Paulino catching for the 2nd day in a row.
So here's Andrew McCutchen, who had 3 hits last night. A couple of them of the infield variety. Mets have the infield back at double play depth. The wind is really whipping through the ballpark today, and it's definitely going to play a factor as the day goes along. McCutchen floats one out to shallow right, and that's going to fall for a hit, and the Pirates take the early lead. Paul comes in to score. Harrison goes to third on the blue pit by Andrew McCutchen, and it's 1-0 Pittsburgh. 28th run batted in for McCutchen.
Well, we saw the 7th inning yesterday, all those infield hits, 5 in fact, and now a bunt base hit, kind of a jam shot to center field and a jam shot to right field. All line drives tomorrow. Nice read there by the Josh Harrison on first base, first to third.
So the Pirates with a run in and still nobody out, and now Neil Walker the batter. Walker 4 out of 12 in this series. I'm not even sure what you can say in the wake of what happened last night, the way this game is starting.
I know this is a really hard thing to think about as a starting pitcher, as you've just gotten ambushed here in the first inning. And you see the wide shot in the defense. You see all the paper strewn across the field. That's from the wind. Pelfrey, you never want to give up 2 runs in the first inning, but your thought has to be ground ball. Let's get 2. Let's stop some of this damage.
I mean, you come out of the box and he's throwing some pretty good pitches, and they're getting hit in places where nobody's playing. Does it weigh on your mind that, hey, maybe I have to muscle up a little bit and throw some more swings and misses?
Younger pitcher, I think you do think like that, but Pelfrey's strength is the ground ball. Get 1, turn 2, try to turn the tide.
All speed pitch misses, and it's 2-0 to Walker with Lyle Overbay on deck. This is where these innings can bog down for Pelfrey. Now, he's done a much better job lately when he's gotten in trouble of getting outs. In fact, earlier this season, he was getting hit around with men on base. The last 5 starts, the opposition 4 for 45 with men on base against Pelfrey. And again, he goes off speed to Walker, and it's 3-0.
Interesting choice there. 2-0 pitch. That has Danny Worthen looking at his shoes.
You see the contrast early in the season when he got in trouble. The trouble multiplied, not so much lately. And there's a strike, even though Polino had to reach for it, and it's 3-1. Harrison is on third, McCutchen on first, with a run already home for the Pirates on a bunt hit and 2 soft singles. There goes McCutchen, swung and missed. The throw by Polino goes behind Reyes, but backed up nicely by Tejada, and that keeps a run from scoring. A stolen base for McCutchen.
Well, swinging right through it is Walker. Did not get a good grip on that throw. Reyes not able to make the play. Heads up Tejada to back up that play. That's one of those that if you're Jose, and maybe not because it's up the line, if you can recognize that you're not going to have a play, kind of throw your body in front of that, but Tejada was there.
The infield stays back with runners at second and third, even with the double play out of order, trying to stay out of the huge inning here. 3-2 now to Walker, and he taps one to the right side, and that'll chase a run home. Tejada throws out Walker for the first out of the game, but Harrison is in with the second run, and it's 2-0 Pittsburgh. So a doubly productive out for Walker. He gets the run in, and he gets McCutchen over to third. So 3 soft hits and 2 stolen bases have produced 2 runs and a chance for another, and now the Mets will have to draw the infield in with Lyle Overbay the batter. McCutchen with great speed at third and 1 out. Overbay 3 for 12 in this series, and he's driven in a couple of runs, hitting at .238 for the year. Pirates last night won their 17th road game of the season. Last year they were 17-64 on the road. This year they're 17-14. So they've already hit their number from last year with 50 road games left to go. And that's about as remarkable a turnaround as you can possibly imagine. In fact, since teams began playing a 162 game schedule, it's the quickest that any team has matched their road victory total from the year before. So it's been quite a turnaround under Clint Hurdle, and they're off to a fast start today. There's a strike, 2-1.
Boy, another 2-0 change-up forkball kind of pitch there from Mike Pelfrey.
Pirates 2 games under 500. Much more competitive after losing 105 games last year. There's a fastball for a strike, and it's 2-2. I will say that Pelfrey is not getting the pop on his fastball that he had in his last start against the Phillies. And that might be why he's throwing a couple of 2-0 changeups. Matt Diaz on deck. And that one just missed. Looking for that inside corner, 3-2.
Boy, I think that's a pitch that might have been missed there by home plate umpire Dana DeMuth, the crew chief. You know, I want every pitch, so maybe I'm wrong, but that's a pretty darn good pitch.
3-2 to Overbay, and he taps one down to first. Evans checks the runner, takes it to the bag, and that's the second out with McCutchen holding at third. So a big second out for Pelfrey. And now Matt Diaz will step in with 2 out and a runner at third. Diaz got the start last night against the left-hander Capuano. Had a good night with 2 hits, and so back in there against a right-hander today, and that's a rarity. Jose Tapia not playing today, and Garrett Jones sitting on the bench as well. Diaz sitting at .256. The former Brave likes to attack the first pitch, and he does, and yanks it foul. Seems like ever since we've seen Matt Diaz, the first pitch he sees every game, he's swinging at.
He's like from the Miguel Olivo school of hitting. As soon as he sees anything a little bit straight, he is swinging. The way to combat there, that is spin it a little bit.
To right center field, Beltran out to play it on a hop. A base hit. McCutchen is in to score, and it's 3-0 Pittsburgh. So Matt Diaz drives in a run with a 2-out hit, and it's 3-0 before Mike Pelfrey can blink. And after Terry Collins lambasted his team after the game yesterday for their poor execution. Things not going well in the opening inning.
I will tell you, though, Gary, you can't account for in that speech your starting pitcher and the kind of start he gets off to. Some blue pits, now a couple of line drives.
Well, of course, what was interesting in Terry's comments was that about the only area that he excused was the starting pitching, because they have, for the most part, been doing their job during this stretch. Ronnie Cedeno 2 for 10 in the series, and he pops one up. Tejada out, Beltran in, and it falls for a base hit. Diaz goes to third, and the inning continues. The 5th hit of the inning. With the wind blowing all around the ballpark, that one found just the right spot between Tejada and Beltran.
Well, to me, I think he never had a good vision of it. You could see the sun really glaring off his sunglasses, and I think he was unsure the entire time out to that baseball as it just deflects off the tip of the leather.
Mercedes-Benz Ultramo brought to you by your Tri-State dealers, on the web at searchmercedes.com.
If you play on this team that has a kind of theme of their outfielders playing very deep, if you're Reyes and Tejada, you've got to be able to catch almost all those plays. Now listen, that's really difficult play, up in the air, sun, wind, everything to play, but that is going to have to be one of the strengths because of how deep the outfield does play.
Dusty Brown will be the hitter. Let's look at this again.
When I saw it, if you watch Tejada go after it, see how he's not going full bore and then tries to catch up to it. To me, he never really got a good beat on where he had to catch that baseball.
And I think I have to believe, without knowing for certain, you have to ask Ruben after the game, the wind had something to do with that.
A lot of factors.
Just wasn't exactly sure where that ball was going to come down. Now Dusty Brown, and it's time for Pelfrey to draw a line in the sand. Brown making his second start for the Pirates. Called up when Ryan Domit went on the disabled list, and it turns out Domit's got a broken ankle now, so he's going to be out for a while. Diaz at third, Cedeno at first. 3 runs on 5 hits against Pelfrey in this opening inning.
More apt to see Ronnie Cedeno not run in this situation because of the pitcher Mahalam on deck. You want Dusty Brown to swing the bat.
Yeah, that fastball misses high, and it's 1-1. There's Mahalam, not a very good hitter.
He's a good hitter here, or at least once.
That's right. He hit a home run against John Mayne a couple of years ago, the only home run of his major league career. Dusty Brown, who put in some big league time with the Red Sox each of the last 2 years, getting a chance to play. There's a certain bemused expression that Pelfrey wears sometimes when things are not going well, and I think we just saw a flash of it. A lopsided grin as he throws the slider away, and it's 2-2 to Brown. It's almost a what else can go wrong kind of a look, and that's the kind of thing that Terry Collins was talking about, trying to diminish on this team, that air of, my goodness, here we go again.
Yeah.
But how can you help but feel that way after watching the 7th inning last night and watching the way this inning has developed? Swing and a miss. He gets him with a high fastball, and the inning mercifully comes to an end. But the Pirates put up 3 runs on 5 hits to start the ball game. It all began with a bunt hit by Xavier Paul, on which the Mets did not get a good break on the call. Should have been out, ruled safe. And then it all fell apart from there. 3 runs later, the Pirates take the early lead. the good news, Jose Reyes is back after 3 days away on the bereavement list following the death of his grandmother. Reyes leads off against Paul Mahalem, and he takes a strike.
Mahalem coming off that great start, complete game effort, 91 pitches to subdue the Cubs. Got 10 runs in his last start after getting nary any 10 starts before.
Reyes, who had the highest batting average in the National League in the month of May, has had 6 consecutive multiple hit games. He's been as hot as anybody in baseball. Now the question is, after 3 days off, can he stay hot? Yanks one just foul, and it's 1-2.
You know, it's interesting. Terry Collins talked about, yes, he did miss 3 days, but he was going to get a day off anyway, because they were, you know, he hadn't missed the game. They were trying to find a day for him.
He says that, but as hot as Jose was, I'm not quite believing that it would have happened. He goes down swinging, and that's the first time in 52 plate appearances that Reyes has been struck out.
Just a fastball out of the strike zone, up and away. Wanted that pitch in, but able to fool Jose.
Well, 1 out and nobody on.
This Coors Light virus, the defense Diaz, who played right field yesterday. In left field, McCutcheon and Paul, who's been great this series. Harrison, Cedeno, Walker, Overbay, the veteran, and Dusty Brown. The battery made from Mahalem this afternoon.
Here's Justin Turner, who snapped the Mets' home run drought last night by hitting his 2nd of the year. The Mets had gone 10 straight games without a home run, and also had gone 10 straight home games without a home run. Turner's was the first for the Mets at home since May the 6th. And he takes a strike, 1-1. Two and 1 to Justin. Yeah, Mahalem throws one down the middle.
It's a nice snapshot off that home run of Justin Turner. Nicely done. High ball hitter, good breaking ball hitter, and you can see that wind just whipping the uniform tops of both Mahalem and Justin Turner.
Wind gusting to 30 miles an hour today, and papers blowing all over the field. Flags blowing in every different direction. Very difficult to gauge which way the wind is blowing. And that's off the plate, 3-2 to Turner. Blowing so hard the camera can't stay steady. Now that's hard, because our guys, they've got hands of steel, our cameramen. Little fist shot near second base, and Walker's got it for the 2nd out.
Hands of steel, Gary, but it's a short turnaround. So, you know, sometimes they're not.
I think they're a little bleary.
Yes.
Get them a little coffee.
There we go.
Black.
I was figuring I'm going to yell at him like Terry did. Get him going.
Oh. Talk about execution. Here's Carlos Beltran with 2 out and nobody on. Well, you remember the famous quote from John McKay, the coach of the Tampa Bay Bucks, way back when, and he was asked, what do you think about the execution of your team? And he said, I'm in favor of it.
I'm all for it.
Beltran hitting a .283, and he takes the slider at his feet. 1-1. Carlos has good career numbers against Mahalem, 6 for 14 with a home run. That's just one of the reasons why Carlos didn't want the day off today. Terry Collins was talking before the game about Beltran's sense of responsibility with so many pieces out of the lineup to be there every day. Cedeno throws out Beltran, so Mahalem, after being handed the lead, sets the Mets down 1-2-3. We go to the 2nd. Pittsburgh 3, Mets nothing. bright June day. Let's so be Pollock. Could be out in the country somewhere. Or maybe not.
When's the last time you were in the country?
Me?
Yeah.
I live in the country.
Oh, well, that's different.
Mahalam leads off in the second inning. 1 for 20 this year, lifetime 113 hitter, but did hit that home run here at Citi Field against John Mayne, the only home run in 328 big league at bats for Mahalam. It might be noted, by the way, that when Mahalam hit that home run, it was the only run the Pirates scored in a 10-1 loss.
I remember the game. Mahalam gave up, I believe, 6 runs real early and was left in the game only because to eat up some innings, and therefore was allowed extra at bats, which produced that home run.
Maybe had a little anger going for him. No anger here with a 3-0 lead, and Pelfrey strikes him out. So back-to-back strikeouts for Mike, 1 out in the second.
You're right, Gary. That's another split finger changeup pitch from Mike Pelfrey to the starting pitcher.
It was very interesting to read in the game notes today the contrast between Mike Pelfrey's performance on regular rest, which he's working on today, and on extended rest, which he's done several times this year. On regular 4-day rest, Mike is 1-1 with a 7.58 ERA. If he has an extra day of rest, a 2.55 ERA. And I find that interesting only because we're watching him have something less than his best fastball so far today.
Well, he's also had, when he was pitching earlier in the year, he was struggling, Gary. So a lot of the games taken out of prematurely. And as he's pitched better, of course, the innings have gone up. Getting the game into the 8th inning a couple of times in his last 5 starts.
He pitched wonderfully in his last start against the Phillies. He was pounding the strike zone with his fastball, using his split to complement it, and then saving his breaking stuff for later in the game.
I think what you have to do, and it's a learning process. It takes some time because you have to have a lot of confidence to pitch like this. But if you don't feel like you have your best stuff, Gary, you almost have to feel as though 3 pitches and they're going to put it in play. You almost don't want them to see your full repertoire because you know it's not there. But you have to have the confidence that it might come back, because it can come back when you don't start with it.
So when you talk about having a 3-pitch limit on putting the ball in play, how do you best accomplish that? I mean, you don't want to center the ball, certainly.
No, when you throw a fastball as that ball goes by.
So Xavier Paul has another hit as Turner, playing off the line, couldn't make the backhand play. And so Paul, who had 2 hits last night off the bench, is 2 for 2 today.
Well, good hitting by Paul. Just gets that. The ball beat Turner to his right. Just trying to get that in the web, didn't get there. How do you beat that? Is that you ensure that every fastball you throw, your mind wants to tell you, okay, make it perfect because it's not good today. The opposite. Make sure it's a strike. It doesn't have to be centered, but just make sure it's down in the strike zone. Make them put the ball in play.
There's Josh Harrison, who singled to center and scored a run in the first. But the other thing about Pelfrey in his last start against the Phillies is that his sinker was moving in a way that we haven't always seen, and it doesn't appear as though it's moving the same way today.
He is one of the few sinker ball pitchers, or calls himself a sinker ball pitcher, that he won't have the same movement on that sinker from start to start. It's a very mercurial.
There's that word again. It's not a knuckleball,
but it's mercurial as far as its sink and the way it sinks for Mike.
So that really makes things more difficult. You're talking about a guy who really has to make game-by-game adjustments in a way that maybe most pitchers don't.
For example, my ball moved in such a way that I knew if I threw a fastball down the middle of the plate to a left-hander, it would be on the outer part by the time it got there. Absolutely, had to. Well, I don't know if Mike always has that kind of movement. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't.
And I guess the best question I can ask, and I don't know that you have an answer to this, is why would that be?
Well, I don't know that. I don't have an answer. Like I said, It's something I have not seen very often. If you are a sinker ball pitcher, innately you grew up with it, and it will sink. If I went out to play catch today, I would sink the baseball.
Harrison lifts one to left, and Babe, battling the wind, puts it away for the second out. So 2 out, all back to first. Here's your key around the majors today. Nate Scherholtz had the game-tying hit in the 9th and the game-winning hit in the 11th as the Giants rallied to beat the Cards, who blew yet another save, 7-5. Ubaldo Jimenez finally won his first game, and he did it with a complete game 4-hitter to beat the Dodgers. And Justin Upton's blue hit in the bottom of the 9th lifted the Diamondbacks over the Marlins after J.J. Putz blew his first save of the season. Gave up a home run to John Buck in the top of the 9th, no matter. Upton won it for them in the bottom of the 9th, and the Diamondbacks seem to win every day.
J.J. ended up getting the win for his actions last night, and Jimenez, I watched some of that game on the computer, and looked like vintage Jimenez from last year.
He said he looked at a lot of video from last year before he took the start last night. But when we saw him in Colorado, it looked like his balance was off.
His balance was off. His mechanics were off. He's got a lot of moving parts anyways, but at this same time last year, 11-1.
The Mets really thumped Ubaldo Jimenez in Colorado. There goes Paul. This time Polino gets away a throw, but Paul is safe anyway. He has his second stolen base of the game, and the Pirates have their third.
You do not see this very often. He looked like he was going to be out. Good throw from Ronnie, but that pop slide where he gets that foot in really quickly got him safe. Just got that foot in before that tag is slapped on his shin.
Well, you don't see the pop-up slide much anymore. It used to be a staple.
That's Lou Brock-like right there.
Great thing about the pop-up slide is ball goes into center field. You're in a position to head over to third. 1-1 now to McCutchen. McCutchen blooped a single to drive in a run his first time up. So the Pirates playing very aggressively today in a day game after a night game. Paul with a couple of steals. Now has 5 for the year. And that's it into center field, and McCutchen has another base hit, and that'll chase home Xavier Paul. So the stolen base produces a run, and the Pirates are up 4-0. McCutchen drives in his second run of the game.
Well, this 2011 version, the Clint Hurdle version of this Pirate team, has come to play. Now, I know they've gotten some bloop hits, some good calls, some infield hits, opportune play, but still kind of smell a little blood, don't they, this team, and trying to take it to the Mets this afternoon.
Alfred leaving that pitch up in the strike zone where McCutchen could hit it hard. So 7 hits now off Pelfrey in an inning and 2/3. And the first pitch change up to Walker for ball 1.
You know, this pitch is supposed to be a slider down and away, and it kind of just spins right in the middle of the plate. Please hit me kind of pitch. I know that because threw many of them myself.
Walker cracks one to deep right center. Beltran can only watch it. That is long gone. Off the Dunkin' Donuts side for a 2-1 homer. Walker's 7th of the year, and the Pirates have opened up a 6-0 lead. Walker just crushed that ball. So Walker with a 3 RBI day. 3 in the first and now 3 in the second for Pittsburgh.
Well, you can count on one hand home runs that are hitting this ballpark where everything stops. Catcher knew it, pitcher knew it, outfielders knew it, and of course Walker knew it.
Dunk. Lyle Overbay pops one up. Reyes watching it through the sun and the wind, now has to come in and it stays with it to end the inning. But a nightmare start so far for Mike Pelfrey. He finds himself behind 6-0 in the middle of the second. Jason Bay leads off the last of the second inning against Paul Maholm, who all of a sudden has stepped into riches in his last 2 starts. Bay 1 for 8 in this series. That was an infield single that drove in a run 2 nights ago. But how about Maholm? His first 10 starts, the Pirates scored a total of 13 runs. He got 10 runs of support in his last start against the Cubs Saturday, and he's already got 6 today. The worm has turned.
That's right.
I mean, he has got to be the best 2-7 pitcher in baseball right now.
I've always liked him. You know, it's been a difficult ride for him because he's got tons of talent. Former Mississippi State University alum.
Number 1 pick by the Pirates back in 03. You know, speaking of one-loss records, and they can be capricious at times because, you know, a lot of it is outside the pitcher's control. But last night, Kevin Correa won his 8th game here and became the Major League's leading winner. The last time the Pirates had a pitcher who by himself was the leading winner in the league this late in the season, Vernon Law in 1960.
Wow.
So 51 years later, Kevin Correa leads the major leagues in wins. Angel Pagan on deck, and then Ronnie Polino in the home second. And Bay just gets a piece of it to foul it back. Well, that's your National League list. Correa on the top of the heap. Mets will see Gallardo in Milwaukee when they start their road trip next week. And Bay pops one up into shallow center. Now it's McCutcheon's turn to battle the sun and the wind. And he staggers to a victory. 1 out. Now Neil Walker hitting a bomb. Here's the IOTB pitch differential.
Well, remember the first game of the series, he hit that bomb to right center that Angel Pagan made the great catch with. So if you're not going to be on the outside part and you're down middle with left-handed hitters, took advantage. Says Angel's not going to catch this one.
Hit that ball about 450 feet. Well, Pagan, who has been on fire with the bat since coming back from the disabled list, now will take a turn from the right side. He's hit in 6 straight games. All his at-bats have been left-handed, and he was really struggling right-handed before he went down with the injury. Just 2 for 23 as a right-hand batter. Those are his numbers since coming off the DL. And again, Maholm makes him skip, and it's 2-1. Came off the foot of Pagan, a foul ball, and he goes hobbling around. 2-2.
Little fastball down and into Angel. Boy, right off the top of that left foot.
Ronnie, the manager just called the team out last night, and then you get off to this kind of start the next day. What does that do in terms of the impact of the message? Does it hold, or is it over? Right over the bag and down the line, and Pagan has himself an extra base hit. The Mets' first hit of the game off Maholm is a 1-out double for Angel Pagan, his 3rd double of the year.
Well, almost the same pitch. This one, though, he keeps fair, keeps it off the top of his foot. Harrison playing off the line, can't get there in time. And Angel right now, after coming back from the DL, right-handed or left-handed, looks solid.
7-game hitting streak for Pagan coming back.
Gary, I think it still holds. You know, you can't dismiss it because of the start the Mets have gotten off to. You know, Pelfrey's struggled. You can't ever try to accommodate what's going to happen with the starting pitcher. He's gotten off to a tough start, but his words were honest. They were impassioned, and I think that his team heard it. Absolutely.
Well, that's the thing that Terry said today. He said sometimes you get the frustrations build up and you overreact to things. He said, and that might have been the case last night, but the fact is that the things he said, in his words, came from the heart.
Came from the heart, and react is nice. You know, in a kind of a baseball you live in today, everyone's measured in what they're trying to say. Overreaction's all right sometimes. Get someone attention. Throw over the meal, the spread after a game. Whatever it takes.
Ronnie Polino starting back-to-back games against the franchise with whom he came to the major leagues. Hitting a .333 for the year.
You know, Gary, you can look at a game like this and say to yourself, our best pitcher got us in a 6-0 hole, woe is me. Another person would look at this and what an opportunity. We came back in this game, chip away, get one of those wins that we haven't had all season long. We've done it before in Philadelphia. Came back, it was 7-0.
Cedeno gets in front of it and throws out Polino for the second out as Pagan moves over to third. Well, there's certainly plenty of time.
You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Pelfrey did have that game in Philadelphia where he put the Mets in a 7-0 hole and they came back and got him off of them.
Yeah, they didn't finish it off, but baseball's a strange game. You know, you can find some amazing moments out of some real dreariness.
Here's Nick Evans getting the start at first base today against the left-hander. Terry Collins giving it a lot of thought before sitting down his hottest hitter today and taking Murphy out of the lineup against the left-hander and putting Evans in. It's got to be awfully difficult when your team is struggling so mightily for offense to sit Murphy down. That's what he's done lately. Wow. Been getting 2 and 3 hits every day.
Do you think there's a part of Terry Collins that says to himself, you know, we have one given. Murphy's locked in against right-handers right now. I don't want to put him up against a lefty and take an over with some bad swings and, you know, let him sit for a day. I need to see Nick Evans anyways because of the new news of Ike Davis. You got to see if Nick can provide some offensive spark.
Grounded to the left side. Cedeno slides over, makes the long throw, and it's dug out nicely by Overbay to end the inning. So the Mets get a double from Pagan and strand him at third. Through 2 at Citi Field. 6-0 Pittsburgh. Privileges in this job on a day game is to be able to sit next to Hall of Famer Ralph Kiner. There's Ralph back in his heyday. One of the greatest home run hitters the game has ever seen. 7-time National League home run champion, and here he is. How are you, Ralph?
You've said that just exactly as I wrote it.
Very good. Every time I see that video, Ralph, I'm just amazed at the bat speed. I mean, tremendous.
And no steroids.
No steroids. Just bacon and eggs.
Matt Dye is leading off the third inning.
I had the T-bone steaks.
There you go.
You know, your name just came up the other day with the passing of Harmon Killebrew, another great home run hitter, and I hadn't realized until I read it that you had worked with Killebrew early in his career.
I had quite a few guys I did work with, mainly Kenny Singleton, now broadcasting with the Yankees. And we had Roger Maris. I worked with him down in San Diego when I was the general manager of the team. And they sent him down to me, and of course he hit 61 home runs, and quite a few of those guys. And one thing about the game now is the fact that the nomenclature of the game has changed so much. So the one thing you got to learn, there are a lot of little indications as a hitter that tell you what you're doing wrong, and one of them is foul balls. And where do they go? And for example, a foul ball straight back means you were on the ball perfectly. When the foul ball goes on the right-hand batter to the left, you're out in front. When a foul ball goes to the right, you're behind the ball. And that will tell you what you have to do to compensate or to try and repair what you're doing right or wrong. And there's all kinds of things that you have to think about and should know about. Now, some players, and there are very few, are instinct hitters, and they don't have to even think about that. But they're far and few between. And I learned a lot of baseball hitting from Hank Greenberg, and Greenberg, of course, was one of the great hitters of all time, and spent 4.5 years in the service and lost 4.5 years of time playing baseball.
You know, Ralph, I was just sitting with Hank Aaron, and he told me that he guessed 80% of the time. You said you guessed too, but it's more anticipate a certain pitch and adjust if you didn't get it.
No question about it.
Reyes flashing to his left and throws out Cedeno, 2 out.
And of course, you should know the pitchers. You know what they throw. You know how they work. And it's very simple if a hitter keeps track of what's going on. For example, if you want to guess curveball and it's fastball, you take the pitch. And that's all key to anticipating is a better word than guess.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I said to Ted Williams one time, do you ever guess? He said, I guess. There's no question about it. All good hitters anticipate or guess at what's coming. And until you get 2 strikes, it's the only way to really give yourself a chance to be a good hitter.
I want to go back to what you said before, though, about foul balls and knowing what you have to do to adjust. And we may not have time to finish with this inning, but if not, we'll come back to it. How do you adjust your swing, and especially these days when guys take so many swings in the cage and seem to have maybe be more mechanical than they were back in your day? How do you make those adjustments? What is it that you need to do, and how does that affect the way that you swing later in that at bat or later in that game?
Well, one thing for sure, I don't like batting practice taken by a hitting machine, because you know what's coming and you don't really have to adjust for anything with that. But the main thing is to adjust. You might open up a little bit if you're behind the pitch so you can get your hips out of the way to clear, or you might have to close them if you're the other way around. And you also can move around in the batter's box. And when you get a pitcher that's throwing low outside curveballs to you and you're a right-hand batter, you might move up in the batter's box. I'm not talking about great things. It's just small things like that. And the adjustment might be get closer to the plate. Try that, see what happens. Make that pitcher pitch to you. And when you get close to the plate, the main thing is you want him to pitch you inside, and he will. And that's what you're looking for. You can make that pitcher do what you want as a hitter, but you got to be able to think.
Now, do you see hitters these days making the kinds of adjustments you talk about?
Man, do I. I don't see that. There's no way in the world that you see many people move around the batter's box.
Well, Mahalam gets himself a rare hit, just his second of the year, and the Pirates have 2 men on.
But you'll see the good hitters might do that. And one of the things that really should be use more often is to stand closer to the plate and take the curveball away from the pitcher. The curveball is the everlasting thing that changed so many guys from baseball players to guys that went to work.
Yeah, I know that on the other side of it, Ralph, and you make a great point, if I would have to face someone, not like yourself, but someone who stood on the plate, I knew that if I was going to bounce my curveball to have him swing over the top, I had to change where I was going to throw it. Because if you throw it on the corner, that's almost the middle of the plate for a guy in the box, so you had to pick part of the other batter's box to try to get him to swing at it.
Well, you're right, absolutely right, Bun, and that's what pitchers do. They'll change, and you got to see them change and change with them. It's a constant game of chess. There's no question about it. But you got to be able to think.
Here's Xavier Paul, is already 2 for 2, 2 stolen bases, 2 runs scored.
For example, a fellow like Rogers Hornsby, so he stood deep in the batter's box, as far away from the plate as he could. Now, the only way he could hit, and he averaged 400 for 5 consecutive years, is to hit the ball to right field. He was a right-hand batter, and he had tremendous power to right center field.
And Paul has himself another base hit.
This is amazing.
Brown tiptoes around third and comes on in with the 7th Pittsburgh run. And Mike Pelfrey is just having himself one really awful afternoon.
Well, the one thing about Pelfrey, he really is not a sinker ball pitcher. They've been talking about him having a good sinker. He does, as Ron pointed out a few minutes ago, his sinker isn't consistent. It doesn't sink. And he now has gone to being a stronger pitcher with a high fastball. But he's had no luck at all in this game. And when luck is in favor of the other team, you're just out of luck.
Well, Xavier Paul getting a start today is 3 for 3.
If you didn't have bad luck, you wouldn't have any luck at all, the way the Mets are going.
And Bobby Parnell gets a very early call on the Mets bullpen.
And Parnell, another one of these guys that can throw the ball 100 miles an hour, but he can't get the curveball over.
Josh Harrison is 1 for 2. 2 on and 2 out. And Harrison foul tips one. 0-2. Now you talk about the possibility of hitters moving closer to the plate to take the curveball away. Why do you think more guys don't stand closer to the plate?
Because they're afraid of the ball. You got to be able to take it and get hit by pitches. There's no doubt about that. We were talking about Ron Hunt the other day. I'll get back to that when we come back. But it's really interesting about him.
Pelfrey gives up a run in the third. Mets now in a 7-run hole as they come to bat in the bottom of the third. This season, subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Mets game live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. Visit Mets.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Here's today's AT&T trivia question. The Mets' single-season record for highest batting average.
All I know is I got him started in the American League. And once he came over here, he was perfect hitter.
Well, he almost hit 400 one year in the American League. Right. Didn't quite reach that lofty level over here. Here's Ruben Tejada leading off, and he takes a strike from Paul Maholm, who now has a 7-run lead. Tejada having a terrific series, 5 for 11 with 3 RBIs. His batting average up to 311. Ralph, you were talking about Ron Hunt before we went to break. As Ronnie Cedeno grabs the grounder and throws out Tejada one away.
You mentioned the fact that he got hit 50 times one year. You know what he had on when he got hit? He wore a wetsuit underneath his uniform.
Really?
And a wetsuit, of course, is rubber, and you use it for swimming in cold water. And he wore that all the time. So he got hit, but he was protected with a wetsuit.
Wow. I had never heard that story.
That's true.
Now, did he wear that his whole career or just that year?
I don't know for sure. I just know that he did use it, and he told me that it was a thing. Well, there's a guy that thought. He figured out a way to get on base.
Well, now you got guys who wear armor on their elbow.
But I think that's wrong. I really think that's wrong. Bonds was very good at that. And they actually used that and tried to get hit because of the padding on their arms, and it should not be allowed.
Well, what it does for a pitcher is just it takes away the inside corner, because you could throw a pitch that's a strike that is going to be now a hit by pitch, and you know that's anytime that happens, it's unfair.
I don't think so.
Well, that was never truer than with Barry Bonds, who stood right on top of the plate with all that armor on his right arm, and he just couldn't throw inside.
And, well, you were going to put him on anyway, though.
Well, that's true. That's one way of doing it.
You might as well save some time. Just hit him at first pitch and get him down to first base.
Pelfrey strikes out. Second strikeout from Maholm, and there are 2 away.
But the other thing about baseball has taken intimidation out of the game. And that's the one thing that when umpires can say you're out of the game if you throw at batters. And it takes a lot of intimidation out of the ball game.
Well, here's Reyes batting for the second time. Jose, coming back from 3 days away, struck out his first time up, something he had not done in weeks.
In fact, he has a total of what, 13 strikeouts, I think, all season long, and that was 14.
Came into the day the second toughest hitter in the league to strike out. And there you see where he ranks in some of the offensive categories in the National League, just having himself a splendid first 2 months of the season. And you see what he has for an encore in June.
His home batting average is really something else, and there's another base hit by Reyes, and he is copying the Pittsburgh Pirates shot. His fanny was sticking way out when he hit this ball, but he got a base hit, a bloop hit. Look at this. How about that?
Fooled by the changeup, but still able to kind of flick it out there.
You know, well, the fact that he doesn't strike out is a big thing, and the Mets are very bad at striking out too much. In fact, David Wright still leads the club in being struck out in games. And Jason Bay has struck out an awful lot. He's been struck out 33 times already this year.
Now Justin Turner, who had a soft line drive to second his first time up, has had a little over 100 at bats now, and he has had a tremendous impact for the Mets. Ralph, have you been watching much of Turner?
I'm ready for Turner. I like everything about it. He has a good swing. He loves to play baseball. He's happy with the game. He has great ability. I think he's going to be a very good ball player. But he's up on the plate.
Takes one the other way, and he has a hit.
There's the reddest hair since Wayne Garrett.
He remembers Wayne Garrett, and he's a better hitter than Wayne was. Now right here you see the fastball goes out to right field. It goes with the pitch. and hits it out to right field, and that is not a level spring, Keith Hernandez. That is a upswing.
By the way, Ralph, there's only about a 20% chance that Keith is watching right now.
Well, he's right about that. Maybe he taped the game. But the great thing about the only way you have a level swing is to be Eddie Goodell. Now, Eddie Goodell was a midget, and he had a level swing, but he didn't hit anything. He never had a swing, and when he batted as a pinch hitter, went to the plate by Bill Veeck.
Well, didn't Veeck tell him that if he swung, he was going to...
He said, I got a rifle in his hands. I'm going to have the rifle with me. If you swing that bat, you're going to be dead.
What was his number? 1/2?
It was 1/8.
1/8.
Eddie Goodell admitted that pinch hit and changed the rules of baseball. You had to have your contract approved by the commissioner of baseball or the league president, actually, in those days. And that was the reason why.
But did they ban little people from the game? Isn't
well,
that discrimination?
they said you had to have the contract approved by the league president. It was that way you couldn't be a midget and get it approved.
Beltran socks one to deep left field, way back, and it's out of here. Off the facing of the second deck. A 3-1 bomb for Carlos Beltran to get the Mets on the board. Number 9 for Beltran is first since his 3-home run barrage in Colorado back on May the 12th. And he just crushed that.
Well, Beltran with his 9th home run of the year, and of course he had 3 home runs in one game, and that was his all-time high. The record by any player in the history of the game of baseball is 4 home runs in a game. Done by about 18 people in the history of the game.
Ball squeezes the fly ball by Bay to end the inning, but Beltran gets the Mets back into it. With his 9th home run, he had gone 66 at-bats without a home run before that bomb. Now it's 7-3 Pittsburgh after 3. Andrew McCutchen leads off the 4th inning against Mike Pelfrey, still out there chucking after 3 difficult innings. Well, there's no traffic we can see on the GW. That would be a first.
They'll be waiting for you in a few hours, Gar.
That was a mess this morning. There's a call strike to McCutchen, and it's 1-1. Andrew McCutchen 2 for 2. He's driven in 2 runs, stolen a base, scored a couple as well. And he rolls over this one, and Reyes on the charge. Now, there's the difference between what happened last night with Willie Harris and that ground ball. The sense of an understanding of how fast the runner is.
Collins talked about it today. Anticipate when the ball is hit to you what you're going to do with it. If Andrew McCutchen is up at the plate, you know that there's a sense of urgency you're going to have to get him out. He's like a track star going down that pitch.
Oh, yeah, but you could see it in every game they played in this series.
Yeah.
You know this guy has great speed.
Not only that, but he runs hard every single time. And, you know, we don't get to see Andrew McCutchen very often. And even though he didn't have a hit the first 2 games of the series, he helped his team immeasurably in every game.
And he also plays the game with a smile and looks like he's enjoying himself out there. And even at his tender age, has become a leader for this Pirates team.
You know, we talked about 4 home runs in the game. The first man to hit 4 home runs in the American League died on this day in 1941, Lou Gehrig. One of the great players of all time, Lou Gehrig.
Turner throws out Walker for the second out. Gehrig still has the American League record for RBIs in a season.
And also Grand Slam home runs.
He hit by 1 now.
By 1, yeah.
So 2 out and nobody on. Lyle Overbay, the batter. He's grounded out and popped up. So Pelfrey looking for his first clean inning of the afternoon. And a little dribbler foul. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Acela Express, where you can plug in and work or sit back and relax. Book now at Amtrak.com. Changeup misses. 1-1 to Overbay. Gehrig had, what, 23 grand slams, and A-Rod has 22?
22.
Gehrig did it.
Over goes Bay to left center and pulls in the fly ball, so Pelfrey accomplishes a 1-2-3 inning for the first time today. And the Mets will try and continue their comeback in the bottom of the 4th. Angel Pagan leads off the home 4th inning and takes ball 1 from Paul Maholm. Angel doubled right over the third base bag his first time up, so he's now hitting 7 straight games since coming off the disabled list. Let's see, he's now raised his average 73 points in a week. Pops it up, and Walker tracking it through the wind, grabs it for the first out. So 1 out in the bottom of the 4th. Let's answer our AT&T trivia question. Mets single season record for highest batting average.
354.
That'll be Johnny O.
Yes. I'm telling you, Gary, you're getting better at this.
The record before that, of course, was set by Leon Jones.
341.
340.
340.
You know, Oliver was on his way to hitting 400 one year.
When he was in the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, that's right. Speaking of 400, I think that the 400 is going to be one of the records safe from now on.
I think so.
And the reason why? Because they have the greatest gloves in the history of the game of baseball. And also another reason that not quite as strong as a good glove.
McCutcheon coming on and grabs Polino's fly ball, 2 out.
Is the fields are in much better condition than they were in the old days when they used to hit 400 with some regularity.
So you get some bad hop singles
Bad
during the
hop
season.
singles,
Okay,
that's right.
Ralph, when did the gloves start to become so much better? Because you look at old films of like the 40s and those gloves are still really small and look like they don't have a whole lot of webbing.
Well, one time, for years and years, the gloves are terrible. In fact, when they started playing baseball, they didn't wear gloves. They played barehanded. But at one time they did get gloves, and they were like the motorman's gloves on a streetcar. But they started around 1946 or 7, right in there, when a guy named Harry Latina, who worked for Rawlins, came up with a glove that was so different that you could hit the ball with one hand. And you see everybody playing better with one hand than they did with 2. And you got more reach that way, and that's why I think 400s might be a soft record that will stay forever from now on. No one hitting 400 again.
Well, think about it. The evolution of the catcher's glove has saved many a right hand for catchers nowadays. They used to have to catch with 2 hands.
Well, they catch foul balls with that one hand. Could never do that in the old days.
Harrison with the long throw gets Evans in a 1-2-3 inning from Maholm. 4 in the books now at Citi Field. 7-3 Pittsburgh.
Matt Diaz leads it off against Mike Pelfrey. Pirates with the 7-3 lead over the Mets here in the 5th inning. And obviously talked a lot about last night, that tough loss for the Mets, trying to rebound today. And I talked to Chris Capuano today, the pitcher who pitched so well, ended up with a stat line that didn't look anything resembling of the effort he had out there. And I asked him about, dealing with it and what he thought about last night and his routine today. And he said, well, the first thing is just trying to process it and wondering, what I did and what I was pleased with and what I wasn't. And, there were a couple plays, fielding plays in that 7th inning, certainly where I thought I should have made and did better. And you think about it that way and you try to move on. But then when I laid down to sleep, it's a different story, because then you start replaying it and replaying it to the point where I had to get up and read a book, to the point where then I laid back down, had to get up and watch some TV in a different room, as Tejada has a chance to retire Diaz and does, 1 away. And he said, I didn't get to sleep all told till about 4 in the morning. And he said it's a tough thing, dealing with that mentally. He said, today I try to think of it and really go pitch by pitch. Think about it from, did I do everything on each individual pitch what I should be doing? I'm talking about, breathing, my execution, my delivery, my mechanics. How did it all turn out? He said, you really have to break it down like that. Otherwise, you get caught up in the moment. And big moments like, playoff games, rivals, when you have family in the stands. Capuano will make a start in Milwaukee for the first time on Tuesday. So dealing with all of that and, how a pitcher processes it after a tough loss. Guys?
Well, Kevin, great stuff, by the way, on Capuano. He's so bright that he's able to explain and voice those things that all starting pitchers go through. And that is, there's 2 things you have to do. After you have a game like Chris had, you process it, you take it home. It's hard to get rid of it, but usually by the time you get to the ballpark the next day, it should be gone. And I'm sure it was for Chris as he moves forward to his next start.
Beltran moves back and grabs Cedeno's fly ball, 2 out.
But I think the hardest thing about it is that, being the Monday morning quarterback or looking through it after you've gone through it is a process that I think you do just so you don't repeat any of the mistakes that you thought you made in the game before.
And that's what he's going to do today, guys. Actually, what he'll do is, he said he does this not all the time, but sometimes he sits down and watches the video, and he'll see how many pitches that he executed. And I asked him, what does that mean? What defines execution? And he said, well, it's pitch selection. It's seeing the target and executing the pitch to where it's supposed to be. He said, it's all those things included. I'll give myself little check marks, and I have a certain score in my mind where I think I should be.
But here's the part that's got to be so difficult. Capuano's performance last night was as counterintuitive as it could be.
Yeah.
He had some really hard hit balls against him in the first 6 innings, but when the game came down to brass tacks, when the game was lost, he really didn't do anything wrong. So how do you process that? 1-2-3 inning for Mike Pelfrey. He's retired 7 in a row. Still 7 nutrition and exercise day for kids before the game. Here's your Mets upcoming schedule. Remember, all Mets games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IOTV, and you can listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. The Braves are here for 3 games, starting tomorrow night before the Mets hit the road and go to Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, and Atlanta. Ruben Tejada leads off the home 5th inning. Ruben bounced to short his first time up. Scott Hairston has come out on deck to bat for Mike Pelfrey, so Mike is done after 5 innings of work. And then after Hairston, it's Jose Reyes. Ralph, we were talking earlier in the game about hitters not really wanting to stand that close to the plate. And I find some irony in that because, after all, the protection that hitters have, particularly the batting helmets, is better than it's ever been.
Well, take a look at this batting helmet right here. That helmet is fiberglass made and was brought to me in 1952. 1952, the man that invented that helmet came up to me and he said, "I want you to endorse this." I turned him down because we thought it was a bad thing to be a sissy.
It wasn't macho enough.
Right,
yeah.
right. And so they had little pads at one time in the fiberglass helmet, before the fiberglass helmet. And they did this. The guy's name was Charlie Muse. And MUSC, and he brought it to me, and I turned it down, and I said, well, take it to Branch Rickey. And Rickey was always involved with doing something to help the beaning of baseball players when it was legal to do so, and we had beanball wars and throwaway break fights and all kinds of things. And the intimidation was certainly there by the pitchers. So he took it to Branch Rickey, and Rickey went for it. And then he made the whole ball club in 50 to wear the helmet, but not just at the plate, but in the outfield. And our guys didn't want to wear them in the outfield because they'd look like a sissy, and they might get hit by a fly ball. And so anyway, that's how the helmets came into being in 1952. And our team, our Pittsburgh Pirates, didn't want to wear the helmets. And we were the only team who wore the helmets that year. And then, of course, they got into vogue, and the league made it a must thing. You had to wear helmets when you came to the plate.
Now, before that, didn't you have some kind of insert you put
little
inside the hat?
inserts you put into the felt cap. And, of course, beaning was a part of the game, and intimidation was a big part.
Hairston with a base hit. Only his second pinch hit in 16 tries this year. And the Mets have a 1-out base runner for Jose Reyes. Let's check in with Kevin.
You know, guys, think about Scott Hairston, who probably thought he'd get a lot more time this year because I don't think anyone thought that Carlos Beltran would be playing every single day. And when he started, he's batted .313, pinch hitting 2 for 20 for that at bat with 9 strikeouts. And I talked to him about it. He said, look, you know, 6 or 7 days go by without an at bat. There's no time to feel sorry for myself. I'm trying to perform the best I can whenever my time comes up. And I fully understand about the playing time. There's no way I'm playing with Babe Beltran and Pagan healthy.
Reyes swings at the first pitch and flies out for the second out.
Yeah, there is a way to play. If you want to play all the time, hit the ball well. Hit 350 and you'll play every game.
It was an unfortunate beginning to the season for Scott because he swung the bat so well during spring training, and then the season began and it looked like he was just trying to do too much to impress early, and he was just taking huge cuts and missing.
He swung the bat better than anyone in spring training. So I'm thinking about you endorsing these helmets, and the business person's coming out of me, and that was kind of like your Facebook, Google, and Microsoft moment there, Ralph.
That's right. Really a part of that. Actually, tell the entire truth. I did get some stock in the company, and it was a preferred stock.
Of course you did.
So I got a little money out of it, but nothing like Rickey. Rickey made a fortune out of it, as he did with everything else.
Made lots of money and didn't pay much. That's a pretty good formula.
That's a great formula.
Turner hits it out to right. Xavier Paul's got it, and the inning is over. Paul Maholm has himself a lead after 5, 7-3 Pittsburgh.
2 o'clock in the morning when we get back from some of these road trips.
Supply and demand, my friend. Lots of supply right now. Just have to move it over to when there's the demand. Get extended post-game coverage of today's Mets-Pirates series finale as Jonas Schwartz and Joe Beningo bring you up to speed with the latest reactions and exclusive interviews on Daily News Live, presented by Citi, part of the New York Sports Local, today at 5 on SNY. Tim Burdock pitching the 6th.
You see the numbers for Tim Burdock. He has not pitched, though, in 5 days. Getting us some work here in this game.
And Mahalem floats one into shallow right, and that'll fall for a hit. Well, Paul Mahalem, not a very good hitter. Only 1 hit all year coming into the day. He's got 2 hits this afternoon. Chris Carlin is standing by. He's got a New York State Smokers Quit line game break. Diamondbacks sitting in first place in the NL West, a half game up on the Giants. They were 6.5 back when May began, and they were in first place when May ended. And I think I read this morning that it was the first time ever that a team had done that, been that far back at the beginning of May and been in first place at the end of May.
Well, last night the Giants, Lincecum gave up 5 in 6 innings, although he struck out 10. Giants had to rally in 1 in 11, I believe. Beat the Cardinals.
And the Rockies winning as well last night on Ubaldo Jimenez's shutout over the Dodgers. Here's Xavier Paul, who's having himself a big day. Paul is 3 for 3, 2 stolen bases, 2 runs scored, and an RBI. He grew up in the suburbs of New Orleans, and he grew up, believe it or not, a Pittsburgh Pirates fan. His dad was a huge Clemente fan, and he passed it down to Xavier, who grew up watching Bonds and Bonilla and Andy Van Slyke play for those early 90s teams.
But the Pittsburgh Pirates trained in New Orleans, and they also had a farm club in New Orleans. That's where he got the tie-in with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And we used to go in spring training and spend 1 whole week in New Orleans. And that was the end of our season right there, because we never went to bed. I'll tell you, that's a Sandy Koufax story. He wanted to go down to New Orleans, and he was with the University of Cincinnati as a basketball player. And he went down to New Orleans because he got on the baseball team to get down there for the Mardi Gras. So he went there that way. So that's how the attraction is in New Orleans. It's a bad place to go. Unless you want to have a good time.
Ate poor boys and you became poor boys.
That's right. You know, you guys were talking about the losing streak that the Pirates had last year on the road. You know, the road losing streak
Paul
is
picked off, and Evans makes the toss. Reyes the tag, and Paul is retired. 2 out.
Well, Paul was picked up, but now he wants to New Orleans too soon.
Well, nice job by Nick Evans. Had to throw a strike there. Good tag by Jose. And, of course, Burdock recognizing first movement that Paul was going. Easy play.
You know, getting back to what I was trying to get in there was that in the 1897 season, the Cleveland Spiders lost 101 road games. And that will never, ever be broken because they don't play that many games on the road. But they were a real bad team, and they didn't draw anybody, so the teams wouldn't play in Cleveland. They played in the Lake Park in Cleveland, and the other teams that would be scheduled for Cleveland would say, no, we're not going there. We can't make any money. You got to come to our town. And that's why they played all those games on the road. 101 losses is a lot of losses.
And I thought the Rupert Mundys were the only team that played all their games on the road. That's Philip Roth's fictional team from the Great American Novel.
That's right.
Harrison pops it foul, and it's 3-2.
There's a rumor that the manager for the Spiders said to the team around loss 65, he said, boys, you got to get some sleep. Around loss 85, he said, you know what, you don't need to sleep. Do whatever you want to do.
Stay out all night.
Stay out all night. Do something different.
You know, a lot of managers do that when their teams are in big, long slumps. They say, stay out all night. I don't want to see one guy go to bed in this town tonight. You stay out all night and we'll break for the streak.
Beautiful play by Tejada behind the bag, and he gets Harrison to end the inning. And Tejada with a sparkler. That gets Burdack through the sixth. 7-3. Brought to you by Twisted Tea, Hard Iced Tea. Carlos May, the only Major League player to wear his birth date on the back of his uniform.
How about the guy that wore his city on the back of his uniform? The only guy ever to do that.
Oh, May 17. I get it.
Oh, his name.
And then 17 at the bottom. Okay.
Driven to deep left by Beltran toward the wall, and that one's off the fence. Beltran will have to hustle to get to second. The throw by Diaz, not in time. So Beltran, who belted a 3-run homer his last time up, almost puts one through the fence this time.
And it would have been a home run with a normal fence, but the Mets, for some reason, built a double-deck fence there, and that ball hit on the top of the wall.
You're referring to the Great Wall of Flushing? Let's look at the Mercedes Ultramo. Brought to you by your tri-state dealers on the web at searchmercedes.com.
Excuse me. In Pittsburgh, they had a high scoreboard there, and I had the one over the scoreboard to get a home run. The scoreboard is like 30 feet high. It's twice as high as that wall out there.
But 16 feet, right?
Yeah.
Now, the brick wall, the fence.
No, it was a scoreboard.
Yeah, but the wall itself, how high was that?
It was about 15, 20 feet. Yeah, big fences all the way around till it got to right field.
I only know that from having watched Bill Mazeroski's home run sail over that wall.
That was over the 408 mark. Yeah.
And I always notice when the ball's sailing over how small Yogi looks compared to that wall. That's why it looks even higher, I think.
He was the left fielder watching that ball go out of the park then. The World Series won in 1960 by the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Well, there is Mazeroski's home run. And there's Yogi. And there's that big wall.
That was a big ballpark. 457 feet to center field. And they complain about this place.
Ball four, and Bay is on with a walk, and all of a sudden the Mets have a rally mounting. First and second and nobody out with Angel Pagan coming up. So Mahalam, who gave up the 3-run homer to Beltran in the third, put up zeros in the fourth and fifth, but now finding trouble in the sixth.
You know, his last time out, he should have had a no-hit, no-run game. 2 infield hits that were not fielded and made out, and one ball misplayed in left field that should have been caught and wasn't.
Ray Searage, the Pirates pitching coach, heads out to the mound to talk to Mahalam. And some stirring around in the Pittsburgh bullpen as well. Chris Reesoff grabbing a baseball. He pitched last night.
I'll tell you, I'm pretty impressed with the job that Ray Searage has done over here. They've had a lot of young pitchers that have kind of fallen by the wayside. And he's come over and he's preached throwing strikes, keeping the ball down, putting the ball in play.
What's impressive to me about this Pirates staff, they're 5th in the National League in ERA, despite being last in the league in strikeouts. So it means they're pitching to contact and letting their defense do the work.
Playing some pretty good defense. I've been impressed by their defense so far this series.
You know, one thing about stats, though, it's like a woman wearing a bikini. It shows everything, but it doesn't show everything all the time.
Very well put, Ralph.
I was on your side the whole way through that. I'm telling you.
You like that bikini part?
I was on your side.
Pagan has doubled down the left field line and popped to second base, 1 for 2. Mets were down 7-0 in this game. It's 7-3 and they're threatening.
And he hits one down the left field line. Over goes Diaz toward the corner, and he makes the running grab.
And the runners will hold. Diaz not known for his defense, but he makes a big play there.
Boy, was that a big play right there, is right. Mets would have been right back in this ball game without this catch made there. 2 runs would have scored.
You saw at the end there that ball just tended to carry a little more than he thought at the end.
That's why I'm saying about the gloves at 400.
Well, the wind's been playing tricks with the ball here all day, swirling the ball and papers all around the field in every direction. There's Ronnie Polino, who's 0 for 2. And he fouls off the first pitch fastball. Ronnie's grounded to short and flying to center, 0 for 2.
He hasn't been a long ball hitter, and they really got him for his long ball hitting.
This is his 54th at bat.
There goes Beltran, a little dribbler back to Mahalam, and that'll advance the runners. Beltran went diving into third.
First stolen base for Beltran with the bad knee and all, and he's running very well. I mean, there's no question about it. The leg is okay.
It's interesting because if that had not been put in play, that would have been Beltran's first stolen base attempt of the season.
And we can't forget that when he had his great legs, when they were 100%, third base was one of his chosen places to steal. He enjoyed stealing third base.
So now 2 in scoring position. A base hit here for Nick Evans, and the Mets are right back in this thing. Evans looking for his first hit of the season. He's 0 for 2 today. A couple of ground balls to the left side. 0 for 9 since being called up. Nick was hitting .248 at Buffalo with 5 home runs before his recall. And the first pitch curveball misses for ball 1.
We see the defense here very deep in the outfield. Shaded the pull in the infield all the way around. And this is one of these at bats for a Nick Evans type that keeps him in the lineup. Base knock here.
Can keep himself in the lineup and his team in the game. But Mahalam pitching very carefully those first 2 pitches with Tejada on deck.
Well, he's going to try to get him out of the way. So if Nick Evans is smart and tries to go that other way, it'll play into his strength.
And now it's 3-0. Well, the walk to Evans would bring Tejada up with the bases loaded as the tying run. And if you're thinking about pinch hitters, the Mets do not have a right-handed bat on the bench. They've used Hairston, who was their only righty bat. There's a strike, 3-1.
I wonder why a batter doesn't want to hit 3-0. One thing about hitting 3 balls and no strikes is the fact you make the pitch be right where you want it or take it. And if you want the ball inside and it's there, you should swing at it.
And the same holds true even more so on 3-1.
3-1's the same thing.
I think Nick was looking for something up, middle of the plate in. Mahalam is going to pitch him away. He's going to see the same pitch. Well, maybe not. First base open. He might see a changeup 3-2.
He might see a curveball here or a changeup because the first base is open. There it is.
Low for ball 4, and so Mahalam has walked 2 in the inning. And now the bases are loaded for Tejada.
Now, while we're on the subject of trying to fill in the ball game, The one thing I don't believe that is really true is that 3-1 is a hitter's count. When you're a good hitter, you don't get a fastball on 3-1. You get something else. And good hitters have to play that way, and so 3-1 is not a hitter's count to good hitters.
Well, Ruben Tejada came to bat last night with the bases loaded and 2 out in the 4th inning, and he floated a base hit over the head of Walker to drive in 2 runs. Now he bats with the bases loaded and 2 out with the Mets down by 4 runs in the bottom of the 6th. And he bounces the first pitch foul. Tejada today has grounded to short and fly to right, but he's 5 for 13 in this series and has driven in 3 runs.
Boy, I think the outfield's too deep with Tejada at the plate. That leaves a lot of real estate to drop another base hit in there for Ruben.
And the guy playing shallow is the right fielder, Paul.
He's moving up a step or 2 more.
And Ruben hits it the other way, a base hit. In to score is Beltran. Bay being waved home. Pulls through is up the line. It's a 2-run single for Ruben Tejada. And the Mets cut the Pirate lead to 7-5. Tejada again comes through with the bases loaded, and this time he hit it hard.
Well, right here, I don't know whether that was a fastball or not. It didn't do anything. It was really straight. And even though he's playing a shallow right field, the throw was way offline. And the Mets come up with 2 big runs. And right here, of course, with 2 men out, you're going to make the gamble and try and score the run. So a bad throw.
The Harlem had a 7-0 lead. Now it's 7-5, and the tying runs are on base. And Daniel Murphy will come up to pinch hit. That's without the right-handed bat on the bench, and so Murph gets the call here. He's been red hot with the bat. 2 hits last night, his 4th consecutive multiple hit game. But was not in the lineup today against Mahalam. Yet he gets the call here.
Big 2-out base hit by Tejada to get the Mets into this game.
And Murphy slashes 1 foul, 1-1.
And Murphy with that one-handed swing, and forget it. There's no way to hit.
There's your IOTV pitch differential on the Tejada hit.
So Tejada hit a good pitch. How could he hit that good pitch? He's looking to go that way.
That's right. When Murphy takes that top end off the bat, he loses all chance for power. You know, the real answer to that is in tennis. Tennis has gone to where all the players use 2-handed hits. 2-handed backhands, 2-handed forehands, and they hit the ball so much harder than they ever did.
2-1 for Mahalam, and Murphy hits one the other way, a base hit. Here comes Evans around third and heading home. The throw by Diaz to the plate on a hop. It gets away. Evans scores. Tejada to third. It's 7-6. Daniel Murphy comes through with an RBI 2-out hit.
Well, Murphy on a hot streak, and he comes through here. Gets a fastball and slices it off the right to left field. And even though he's shallow and right on top of the catcher, and the throw beats him, the catcher can't hold on to the ball.
Kind of short hop the catcher, which is the most difficult on making that play, trying to elude the runner, apply the tag. And as we talked about before, when the Mets got down 6-0, it's an either woe is me game or a great opportunity. They've taken it as a great opportunity.
Charge an error on the left fielder, allowing the runner to go to third. Mahalam is out. He had a 7-0 lead. It's 7-6. The tying run is on third as Chris Resock comes into the game. The call to the bullpen is brought to you by Lincoln. Mets are rallying. We'll be right back. Chris Reesop comes out of the Pittsburgh bullpen for the second straight day.
They had a perfect seventh in yesterday's ball game with a couple of punch-outs. And the Mets in this inning, some nice two-out hitting.
Well, Paul Maholm was sitting pretty with a 7-0 lead. Now it's 7-6, and he's got to sweat it out with the tying run at third. Bobby Parnell, who was up back in the third inning, is up again, getting ready to pitch the bottom of the seventh, or the top of the seventh. Reyes is 1 for 3 in his return to the lineup. Tejada and Murphy each with big two-out hits. They're on the bases now with 2 out. Reyes the 8th man up in the inning. 3 runs are home. And he gets away, and here comes Tejada with the tying run. It's 7-7. And for the second time this season, the Mets have rescued Mike Pelfrey from a 7-0 deficit.
Well, Reesop coming in, fastball away. Boy, you got to catch that baseball, Dusty Brown. Right off the end of the glove. It's a peculiar fastball there.
Well, we saw Chris Snyder, the other Pirate catcher, have a couple of pass balls earlier in the series. Now Brown with 1. The game is even. The go-ahead run is at second. 1-0 to Reyes. And he bounces that breaking ball, and it's 2-0. It all began with Beltran doubling off the wall and right. Jason Bay drew a walk. Matt Diaz made a nice play. Otherwise, this could have been even worse on Pagan's fly ball. Polino bounced out, but then Maholm pitched very carefully to Nick Evans, walked him and paid for it when Tejada and Murphy each came up with 2-out hits. Now the pass ball has tied the game. And Reyes fouls back the fastball 2-1.
Well, the Nick Evans at bat is the at bat that's going to keep Maholm up tonight. But honestly, he threw the gauntlet at Tejada. If you're in that on deck circle, you're saying to yourself, he's going to pitch around him, so he wants to face me. Well, Tejada came through.
Well, Maholm once had a chance to cruise to a win. Now he could be a losing pitcher if Murphy comes home. Now Reesop on 2-1, and Reyes bounces it foul. 2-2.
Reyes has been a very tough man to strike out. He did strike out in this game, and it was one of the few times this year he's been struck out. He puts the ball in play, but there are 2 men out, so the difficulty here is right now to get a base hit, to get the run in from second base and put the Mets in front.
Reyes 2 for 5 in his career against Reesop with a home run. Now on 2-2, he fouls it off. 93 from Reesop.
It's almost this season you expect Reyes to have another multi-hit game. Here's the strikeout rate.
Second only to Polanco, who is almost impossible to
emulate.
I mean, you know, Reyes is a guy who generally has struck out 60 to 80 times a year. So he has really improved in terms of making contact. Justin Turner on deck.
Well, he's been a terror all season long in his walk year.
And he goes down on the fastball and flips the bat in disgust. That ends the inning, but a big inning for the Mets as they get even. They were down 7-0 in this game. Beltran's 3-run homer in the 4th got them close, and now a 4-run 6th inning. Murphy with the big hit, and the Mets tied up 7-7. Stays in at first base. Bobby Parnell comes on to pitch, so Parnell will go in Nick Evans' spot, 7th in the order. 7-7 in the 7th as Andrew McCutchen leads off and takes a strike from Parnell. Second outing for Bobby since his return from Buffalo.
Well, the one thing that Terry Collins needs to see from Bobby Parnell, one is command, because physically he's come back from AAA with the 100-mile-an-hour fastball and the razor blade slider, but has not been able to have that command yet as we get ball one here, and also his ability to put away hitters when he gets in front.
Through 32 pitches in 2/3 of an inning night before last in his return to action, and the radar gun was happy, but the results were mixed.
I found that making the manager happy is more important than the radar gun.
Radar gun can't talk like Collins.
Reyes gets in front of McCutchen's ground ball, and the quick toss scooped out by Murphy. Tough play for the first out.
Great pickup on the tough hop. And Reyes, of course, knowing McCullum can run.
New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Geico, by BMW, the ultimate driving machine, and by AT NYN, rethink possible.
What's this player?
Boy, that's a tough hop there. Good thing for that glove, I'll tell you that.
This is the glove is the theme today.
Boy, I'll say.
Here's Neil Walker, who hit a bomb of a home run back in the second inning. A 2-run shot off Mike Pelfrey that hit the Dunkin' Donuts sign above the visitors' bullpen. An area that I don't think has been tread before in this ballpark. I mean, we've seen a couple on the bridge a little further to the right there. I remember A-Rod hitting one into that general vicinity, but I don't think he hit it as far as Walker did.
That is the territory in the old days, Ralph, where they might get a free suit if you hit that spot.
If Abe Stark were alive today.
I'll tell you, that thing was never hit, the suit thing. It was real low at Evans Field. Right at now, it was 2 feet off the ground, and it said, "Hit this sign, get a free suit." And they say that Perillo was a great right fielder, would stand in front of that sign and catch everything, and he would get a free suit at the end of the season.
He got kickbacks. That's outstanding.
Abe Stark, who later on was a borough president of Brooklyn.
Because he didn't give away too many suits.
he had a whole stockpile.
Walker pops one up. Ball blowing around in the wind, and Reyes staggers and makes the grab. 2 out. So Parnell has come on and retired the first 2. And now Lyle Overbay will bat. Well, how about Mike Pelfrey living large? Twice in one season, leaves behind 7-0, and his team comes back and gets him off the hook.
You know what that does? It doesn't allow you as a starting pitcher to ever complain about lack of run support the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Not once.
He's going to expect that every time he goes out there now.
Well, to Mike's credit, he even referenced that after his last start against the Phillies when the bullpen kind of let him down. He said, "Look, I'm not going to say anything about my teammates. They got me off the hook in Philly when we were down 7-0, and lo and behold, now they've done it again."
He wouldn't learn that at Wichita State, maybe.
I don't think he was behind 7-0 at Wichita State much.
Not with that bonus.
I will tell you, though, when you're a starting pitcher, your team has let you off the hook, but the only way you feel vindicated or you feel anything good is if they finish the task and win the game.
Well, it would be something if they did today.
They had to win.
It would be something that the Mets have not done in 11 years, and that is overcome a 7-run deficit to win a game. The last time they did it, it was a very memorable game in 2000 as the Mets were down 8-1 going to the bottom of the 8th and scored 10 in the 8th to beat the Braves. That's the game. An inning capped by a Mike Piazza 3-run homer off Terry Mulholland.
That was the year they got in the World Series. I'll tell you, in '69, the Mets have won a few games like it. Not like that, but for two of those games.
Inside, it's ball 4 to Overbay. See, now when I think of 69, I think of 2-1 games, not 10
We
to 7.
had 2 1-0 games. One was pitched by Don Cardwell, and another by Jerry Kuzman, and both pitchers drove in the run.
In a doubleheader?
In a doubleheader.
Against the Pirates, I think, right?
I don't remember that. I know they 1-0, and both of them were a lot. Well, Cardwell's a good hitter. I take that back. But Kuzman was a lousy hitter.
Not that day. It's Matt Diaz, and he lines one foul. Diaz 1 for 3, singled home a run back in the first inning. And the youngster came up with a ball. It's always a good day at the ballpark when you get yourself a souvenir baseball. You'll remember that forever.
And you can keep your ice cream spoon, too, at the same time.
Not drop the ice cream. That's a plus.
It's very impressive. Now Parnell ahead on Diaz, 0-2 at 99 miles an hour on the gun.
But this is what Terry wants to see. 0-2, right-handed hitter. Parnell needs to dominate this hitter in the at-bat.
And he struck him out. No, he just got a piece. He got a piece, and Paulino couldn't catch it.
Well, there was
Diaz is still there.
There was that slider we were talking about. He worked down in Buffalo, or up in Buffalo.
Now that's a good pitch. Oh, it just came out of the glove of Paulino.
At least he had the glove in the right position.
Again, the 0-2. And that one just missed.
There's another attempt at the slider, but that's good pitching. I know Ron like that.
It is, but the other day he threw 3 in a row. I don't like 3 in a row from him when he threw 100 miles an hour.
Well, but it has more for him at 100 miles an hour. You're right.
And Diaz fouls off that slider.
That was 100 miles an hour right there.
I mean, he's throwing his slider 91, 92 miles an hour. That's pretty impressive.
Bad swing.
And they're fouling it off, which is kind of impressive also.
Mm-hmm.
So Diaz hanging in. Overbay at first with 2 out. And that one goes to the backstop. Comes right back to Paulino. His throw to second, though, is not in time. And Overbay arrives safely. What a carom that was. Right back to Ronnie Paulino.
Well, he tries to throw this one 105 miles an hour. Just missed the head of Diaz. And it became a pitchback game.
Almost got Dana DeMuth on the way back.
And it got the second base umpire off the noggin.
That was some comedy.
Put a tent on this circus. Man.
Scored a wild pitch, moving the go-ahead run into scoring position. Jason Isringhausen, who got the day off yesterday, right back at it today. He still pitched 5 times in the last 7 days.
It's these little things that are puzzling. You've gone from the ability to dominate the hitter to now you've got a runner in scoring position.
2-2 to Diaz. And he struck him out. Went back to the slider and strikes out Diaz to end the inning. So a better inning for Bobby Parnell, and now the Mets take a 7-7 tie to the bottom of the 7th. been quite an afternoon from one end of the spectrum to the other for the Mets, with the wind blowing hard and the sun shining. The Mets were down 7-0 in the middle of the third, but a 3-run homer by Beltran in the bottom of the third and 4 runs in the 6th inning have gotten them even. And now they'll set about trying to take the lead for the first time today. The largest deficit that the Mets have overcome to win this year is 4 runs. They're trying to come back from 7 runs down to win today. Justin Turner's 1 for 3, singled and scored back in the third. Chris Rhysop in his 2nd inning, and his first pitch is popped up. Who's going to grab it? Walker. That staggers to a stop for the first out. Every pop-up and fly ball an adventure on this blustery day.
Well, it started out Cedeno's ball and became Walker's ball, and I want to say Neil caught this. I think really the ball caught him.
And his cap at the same time. Mercedes-Benz Ultramo, brought to you by your tri-state dealers, on the web at searchmercedes.com. Well, Beltran has crushed the last 2 pitches he's seen. A 3-run homer and a double off the fence. Both of those batting right-handed. Now he turns around from the left side. Carlos hit his first home run since his 3-home-run game in Colorado on May 12th. Off the facing of the second deck in left field. Then he doubled to start the 4-run rally in the 6th, so he's been right in the middle of everything for the Mets today.
I think the double was hit harder than the Beltran home run. But he got that one up high and off of the second deck. And the double was hit low against the fence in left field.
And, you know, go back to what Terry Collins said about Beltran before the game today, that there was not even a thought on Beltran's part to take off today, day game after a night game, because he understands his responsibility right now as really the only big gun left standing.
Well, the guy that's on deck is not having any kind of a year at all. He's got a great number, but he sure hasn't come close to that. Hank Aaron's number of 44.
Willie McCovey's number.
Boy, Beltran missed 2 pitches in this at bat. He knows it.
Had some good ones to hit, yeah. Yeah, I'm not in no hurry. It's all right.
Here's a 3-2 to Beltran, and he hits one out to center field. Back goes McCutchen. He's got room out there to make the catch, and there are 2 out. So Beltran retired, 2 out. There are your city probables for the series starting tomorrow night against the Braves. John Neese against Derek Lowe tomorrow night. Dylan G against Jair Jurgens, who right now may be the front runner for the Cy Young, on Saturday night, and R.A. Dickey against Tim Hudson on Sunday night. Jason Bay up with 2 out, and he takes one in the back. And the Mets have the lead 1 aboard with 2 out.
Well, just a bad breaking ball here by Chris Rhysop. Loses control of it and gets Jason right in the side.
Needed his wetsuit.
That had the word right there. No rubbing no rubbing allowed.
He's Canadian. They don't need wetsuits.
So with Bay aboard, here's Pagan. Angels 1 for 3. Doubled back in the 2nd. Hit one deep toward the left field corner his last time up, but Matt Diaz ran it down. See if Bay's feeling frisky after getting plunked. He has 4 steals on the year. And Rhysop gives him a look. And Pagan takes a strike.
Pagan has not had a home run this year, but he's been hitting well since coming off the DL.
Interesting to see if one of those few selective bases that Jason Bay tends to steal during the season to come right now.
Usually when Jason steals, it's when he's not being paid much attention.
2 men out right now.
And now Rysop ahead of the count on Pagano, 0-2. Angels now hit in 7 straight games since coming off the disabled list. Looking like a much different hitter than he was when he got hurt.
Egon, I did say I think he has 1 home run. On deck batter has no home runs.
Just need a double here, Ralph.
Double to put them in front.
Here's the 0-2, and he fouls away the fastball. Daniel McCutcheon, the right-hander. Daniel Moscas, the left-hander, up in the Pirates bullpen. Well, Paul Maholm's effort today ended the streak of 13 straight starts for the Pirates where they've allowed 2 earned runs or less. Maholm got tagged with 6 earned runs this afternoon after being handed a 7-0 lead. And he went from a win to a no decision in a hurry. Changeup misses, 1-2.
Outfield is pretty shallow right now. It's not real shallow, but it's pretty shallow.
Third baseman Harrison guarding the line even with the left-hand hitter up.
Right center field gap always seems so large here in Citi Field.
There goes Bay.
And Pagan tops one right to over Bay for the 3rd out.
So the Mets strand 1 in the bottom of the 7th. On to the 8th we go, tied at 7.
The last 8 days takes them out for the 8th inning.
Well, you want to try to stay away from your pitchers unless you have a chance to win a game. And Isringhausen, of course, gives the Mets the best opportunity to win. He's been struggling, to me, with his control. He's mostly been a cut fastball guy. Has not used his curveball like he was using it earlier in the season. It'll be interesting to see if he changes that format here.
His bread and butter is the curveball. That's the big thing about him. And he joined the Mets with that curveball and was very effective with it when he pitched for the St. Louis Cardinals.
And of course you have to be concerned about Izzy's elbow. He had Tommy John surgery on a couple of occasions, and he's even said as this year has progressed in unlikely fashion for him that he feels as though in some respects he's just hanging by a thread.
Yeah.
Well, they actually retired and came back, so everything is a bonus from here on in, if it's good.
Ronnie Cedeno, the batter, Dusty Brown on deck. And Cedeno, there's the curveball, and he fouls it off, and it's 0-2.
When I watch Izzy pitch, after he lets go of the pitch, and this is a pretty good break ball on the outside part, it's almost the walk that he does around the mound is his way of kind of putting everything back together again before he releases the next pitch.
It's almost the Randy Myers walk.
They have the technology. They can rebuild him.
Another curveball. He's got that big curveball, and I don't know what he does. He doesn't throw a knuckle curve, does he?
I don't think he throws a knuckle curve.
He did early in his career.
Yeah, early in his career, I know he did
Actually,
that.
more of a spike curve. There it is again, and he strikes out Cedeno for the first out. So Izzy fans the first man to face him.
You know, Ralph, what's important about using the curveball, even if you don't feel like you have a good one, it gets them off that cutter. You know what I mean? If you see the same pitch over and over, it makes it much more difficult to be successful.
Well, the one thing about a good curveball is that you don't really have a good shot at hitting the ball, and so you have to protect against it.
Here's Dusty Brown, 0 for 2 and a walk, and he fouls it back. Let's check in with Kevin.
Oh, guys, you talked about the Braves coming here tomorrow night. When you look at Jason Isringhausen, both he and Francisco Rodriguez have been a great combination in the 8th and 9th inning. You know who else has been great for the Braves? Johnny Venters and Craig Kimbrell, maybe the best in the league right now. I mean, they are just that good. Venters has a .52 ERA. He's allowed 2 earned runs all year. The ERA, the best for any reliever with over 10 innings of work. And Kimbrell, he's had some issues with walks here or there. He leads all major league relievers with 42 strikeouts. That's how good he has been. It's a dominating 1-2 punch. I mean, you think around the NL East, Clippard and Storm for the Nationals, they've been very good. Obviously, you go to the American League, Robertson and Rivera have been great for the Yanks. But boy, Kimbrell and Venters, a young dynamic duo for the Braves coming in here tomorrow night, guys.
And those 16 saves for Kimbrell, that has already tied the National League record for rookies picking up saves before the All-Star break.
Wow.
And, you know, we've still got, what, 5-6 weeks before the All-Star break, so he's going to shatter that mark. They're in the standings right now in the NL East, and the Braves have done it with their pitching.
That curveball is set up to fastball. 2 good fastballs by Isringhausen.
Molino wants it up, and he strikes out Brown with a fastball. Back-to-back strikeouts for Isringhausen to start the 8th. 2 out.
Well, he wanted it up. It's really middle, but he just had enough speed on it to throw it past Dusty Brown.
So two-way. Now Garrett Jones will pinch hit for the Pirates. Jones, who started the first 2 games of this series, had a sacrifice fly as a pinch hitter last night, but he's gone 0 for 8 so far in these 3 games. And he checks, swings one into right center for a base hit. It'll take half a cut and something good might happen. So a 2-out hit for the Pirates. Let's check in with Chris Carlin. He has a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. Now Xavier Paul will bat with 2 out and the lead run on first. It's been a big day for Paul, who's gone 3 for 4. 2 stolen bases, 2 runs scored, an RBI. Jose Veras is up in the Pirates bullpen. And Paul takes low and in. Paulino can't find it, but not long enough for Jones to make a break. Xavier Paul, who started the year with the Dodgers, was claimed on waivers by the Pirates, making just his 7th start for the Pirates today and his first as a leadoff hitter, and he has made an impression. And Isringhausen picks him off. Garrett Jones, who was going nowhere, winds up picked off to end the inning. A
Big move by Isringhausen to get the third out. Our thanks to Ralph Kiner. Ralph, we'll see you soon.
Okay, Gary. Okay, Ron.
Thanks, Ralph.
SNY.TV, the ultimate blog network featuring a continuous flow of sports news straight from the best New York sports blogs. SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. Jose Veras comes on to pitch for the Pirates in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, the Mets have faced him when he was with the Marlins. Had an outstanding season for the Yankees a few seasons ago, especially during the World Championship year. He looked awfully effective with his good fastball and change.
Ronnie Polino will lead off in the bottom of the 8th inning. Then the pitcher's spot is due. Willie Harris is out on deck to pinch hit. So it's Polino, then Harris and Tejada for the Mets in the 8th. The Mets rallied in the 6th with the lower part of the batting order. Ruben Tejada, a 2-run single. Daniel Murphy came off the bench to deliver a run-scoring hit, and then the tying run scored on a pass ball. Polino is 0 for 3 today, 2 ground outs and a flyout. A game where the Mets have come from 7 runs down to get even, but now trying to penetrate the Pirates bullpen, which has been so effective in this series. And the first pitch breaking ball in for a strike, 0-1. Chris Resop went an inning and a third in relief, no runs, no hits, and that really continues a theme throughout this series. Saw Harris on deck. And Veras misses away, 1-1. Polino, the former Pirate, hits one up the middle, base hit. And the Mets get the lead run aboard to start the 8th inning. Now Willie Harris is not going to pinch hit. Instead, he's going to pinch run for Polino, and Chris Capuano will come up in a bunting situation to try and move Harris along. So a little change in plans there for Terry Collins after Polino gets the base hit. That's a fascinating move right there, isn't it?
I like that move a lot. Gets on first base. You have your best bunting pitcher, Chris Capuano, out there. Also a good athlete, a guy that can swing the bat. He had to, but he's here to bunt. And you see the defense, of course. Harrison, the third baseman, in trying to take the bunt away. First baseman Overbay, of course, got to hold Harris on.
Capuano started last night, went 0 for 2 at the plate, and he takes the first pitch fastball outside for ball 1. So Capuano being asked to execute here
How often do pitchers keep their spikes on, starting pitchers during a game?
I would always keep my spikes on, but it was different. I had to run for Rusty in those days, but I would say 95% of the time, no. They have their sneakers on.
Capuano has 3 sacrifices this year. And he pops that one foul off the screen, 1-1. So you have to imagine that at some point, either Terry or Ken Obergefell alerted Capuano that he might be used as a pinch hitter.
Yeah, and he knows that he's going to be one of the first off the bench. The problem is you go from telling stories and eating sunflower seeds to max out adrenaline, you know, and you have to calm that down. I don't know if it's in the scouting report, but Jose Veras does not like to throw the ball around the infield. So if you get this bunt to the pitcher, he's the one he's just reluctant to throw the ball around the infield.
Looking Willie Harris back to first base. You got Harrison, the rookie third baseman, playing in on the grass. Overbay holding Harris at first. And Capuano fouls it off, so unable to get the bunt down twice. Now he's in a hole. Now Capuano's a pretty good hitter, and he's going over to the dugout now. And he's going to have a little word of wisdom from Terry Collins.
He's waiting for someone. He's going to pinch hit for Capuano with 2 strikes.
Well, you can do that, but you put your pinch hitter in an awfully deep hole. Now, Tolley's obviously got to come in the game anyway because Molina was left for a pinch runner. And so Tolley will now bat for Capuano.
Wow.
This is some very unusual out-of-the-box thinking by Terry Collins, trying to maximize his bench.
What did Terry Collins say last night in his bit of his tirade? You know, maybe it's partly some of the players, but maybe it's the manager that's got to start doing some things, thinking outside the box. Boy, here we are.
Willie Harris is standing at second base. How did he get there?
I thought it was a foul tip by Capuano.
I thought so too. He fouled off the last pitch, unless that was called the balk. Wait a second. What's the count?
Boy, that's got to be a foul ball.
Harris went to second. I think they called the balk, so it's not actually 1-2. It's actually 1-1. And now Tolley is up there to try and drive in the run. And maybe that's why he called Capuano back, because now he's got a runner in scoring position. So now it's 1-1. And the balk moved Harris to second base. And there's a breaking ball in for a strike, and it's 1-2 to Tolley. So that completely changes things.
Veras thinks it's strike 3. He didn't know it's 1-1 count on that pitch. He didn't come to a stop, and that's why they called the balk on him.
The second base umpire called it, but the home plate umpire was not definitive in calling the balk, so we missed it. But Terry Collins didn't. He knew exactly what was going on, and that's why he sent Tolley up there to try and get the run in now, rather than having Capuano bunt the runner to third. So now it's 1-2 to Tolley, and the breaking ball down and in 2-2. So Capuano left with a 1-1 count, which means that any result of this at bat is Tolley's. Had he inherited a 2-strike count, then the strikeout would have gone to Capuano. However, Tolley not thinking about strikeouts. He's thinking about putting the ball in play and getting that run in.
Well, even after the balk was called, Veras thought after the curveball earlier in the count that he'd struck out. Tolley had not.
So Harris, the lead run at second with nobody out. A single and a balk. And now it's 2-2 to Tolley. And it bounces in, knocked away by Brown, but over to third goes Harris. Well, it's been a rough night, rough day behind the plate for Dusty Brown. A pass ball, and that time unable to stop that pitch in the dirt.
Well, there's nothing he could do there. He threw his entire body at this ball that hits 3 feet in front of the plate. And good job by Harris being alert, ready to take that extra base.
Well, the Mets scored the tying run in this game on a passed ball. Now a balk and a wild pitch have helped put the lead run at third with nobody out. So now Tolley just trying to get that ball in the air and get that run home. It's 3-2. And the breaking ball outside, and Tolley draws a walk. And I think Veras became a little unnerved after that entire sequence where he didn't know what the count was as the result of the ball.
I totally agree. When he did not get the strikeout, did not know what was going on, took his mind up to hit it totally, cost him a walk.
So now 1st and 3rd and nobody out. Ruben Tejada is going to have a conversation with Chip Hale before he comes to bat. Tejada has a huge hit in this game, a bases loaded single that drove home 2 runs in the 6th. You might think about a squeeze play here, but with nobody out, I can't see that happen.
Nobody out, and also the threat of a squeeze almost erased by Chip Hale coming to the plate. You want that play to be somewhat of a surprise. Now, if you wanted to take Tejada and have him bunt the ball up the right side in a safety squeeze kind of way, that might be a play. I think you let Tejada swing the bat.
I think the way he's been swinging it, I think that he does swing away. And also you got Murphy standing on deck.
Should be rewarded also for the hit that got them to 7-5.
Well, he had a 2-run bases loaded hit in yesterday's game, a 2-run bases loaded hit in today's game. Ray Searage out with the entire Pirates infield grouped around him. The Mets poised to try and grab the lead for the first time today in a game that they once trailed 7-0. And it's little Ruben Tejada who gets the call. Harris the go-ahead run at 3rd, and Tolley at 1st with nobody out. Remember that Murphy is hitting in the 9-hole behind Tejada.
Well, you see the defense, infield in, outfield pretty deep except for Xavier Paul in right field, similar to the last time Tejada was up. Third baseman Harrison pinched in.
So here we go. Veras pitching to Tejada. 1st and 3rd, nobody out with the infield in. And Tejada lifts one, left center, not all that deep. McCutcheon's got a good arm. Harris tagging. McCutcheon flat-footed makes the grab, and Harris comes on in. No problem to give the Mets the lead. And tagging and going to second is Josh Tolley. So the Mets, who are down 7-0 in this game, have gone in front 8-7 in the bottom of the 8th on the sacrifice fly by Ruben Tejada, his 3rd run batted into the day.
Boy, nicely executed by the youngster. Fastball trying to jam him in. He was quick enough to get the head out and got it deep enough. Right here, when you catch it flat-footed as McCutcheon did, he's got to know he has no chance to play at home. The prudent play is to play at second base.
Now they're going to walk Murphy intentionally, so heads up base running by Tolley to go to second. That leaves first base open, so they'll pitch around Murph and give him the intentional walk, but that brings Reyes to the plate with 2 men on. Some strange doings in this inning all the way around.
2 men on, 1 out to a guy that you can very rarely double up.
So K-Rod getting ready in the bullpen for the Mets now, with the Mets having grabbed the lead in the bottom of the 8th. So Murphy, who had a run-scoring hit as a pinch hitter in the 6th inning, now getting the intentional walk. As Clint Hurdle has seen this game spiral away from his team. And there's ball 4. Well, we talked about it early in the game, didn't we, Ronnie, after the Mets fell behind? And I asked you whether the impact of Terry Collins' message might get muted by falling into that early hole. And you said no, and I guess you were right.
Well, I just think that, you know, Pelfrey got off to a tough start. That happens. But I think Terry Collins' words were, hey, we're going to play hard for 27 outs. And that's what they've done here today. Outstanding.
So now Tolley at second, Murphy at first, and Reyes with a chance to put the hammer down. Jose is 1 for 4 in his return to the lineup today. And he takes it wide for ball 1. Jose has struck out twice today after going 51 plate appearances without a strikeout. So perhaps the few days off have blunted the role that he was on. But now his 5th at bat of the day. And 2 changeups in a row, and it's 2-0. And Veras can only shake his head at himself.
He's shaking his head. He's looking at the dugout. He's doing all the things other than concentrating on Reyes.
He Gave up the leadoff hit to Paulino, and then it all spiraled downward. Capuano came up to try and bunt. Veras committed a balk. That moved the pinch runner Harris to second. Tolley came up, and Veras seemed to lose track of things after the balk and walked Tolley. Now it's 3-0 to Reyes. Tejada followed with the sacrifice fly after a wild pitch to put the Mets in front. Justin Turner on deck. Reyes taking all the way, and it's ball 4, and the bases are loaded. So after intentionally walking Murphy, Veras unintentionally walks Reyes, and now the Mets have the bases loaded, 1 out, and Justin Turner coming up. And Clint is running a marathon in that dugout.
Hunt.
Daniel McCutchen gets up again. 3 walks in the inning, 1 of them intentional. And now Turner, who is 1 for 4 today, singled and scored in the 3rd. Tolley now at 3rd. Murphy at 2nd, and Reyes at 1st with 1 out. And a chance for the Mets to add to their 8-7 lead. And Turner takes a breaking ball strike. Now there are plastic bags blowing around in the infield. I want to know, what's the ground rule if you hit a ground ball and it goes in a plastic bag?
Rub of the green. Rub of the green.
I mean, there's a plastic bag right in front of the second baseman. There it is.
Base hit. Or if he gets the first, that's how it goes.
Off the plate, and it's 1-1 to Turner. Justin has driven in at least a run in 14 of the last 17 games coming into today, and he can extend that streak right now. Pirate infield looking to turn 2 and get out of the inning. And that curveball in for a strike, and it's 1-2. Carlos Beltran has had a big day waiting on deck.
Well, on a day that Terry Collins asked his team to anticipate and be ready for anything, it was Terry Collins who was ready for anything when Harris was blocked to second base.
Now Veras ahead 1-2. And Turner pops it up. Overbay into foul ground. And that's the second out. So Turner can't get the run in from third. Now 2 out of the bases loaded for Carlos Beltran. Beltran got the Mets comeback started in the 3rd inning. They were down 7-0 at the time, and he belted a 3-run homer. Then he got a 4-run rally started with a double off the fence in the 6th. Carlos hit his home run today as a right-hand batter. Now batting left-handed against Veras. And a good changeup to start him off. 0-1. Tolley, Murphy, and Reyes the base runners with 2 out. To Carlos, and the curveball misses 1-1. Jason Bay would be next. Veras is about to throw his 25th pitch of this inning. And Beltran can't stop the swing, and it's 1-2.
Well, 2 good changeups from Veras in this at bat. Changeup down and away. You see overhead. Beltran committing.
So now Veras with a chance to get through this inning with only the 1 run scoring. And Beltran takes the breaking ball, and that missed. 2-2.
One changeup up. That's what Beltran needs.
It's been a long time since the Met hit a grand slam. He fouls off that curveball. Marjan meets against Derek Lowe in the opener of the 3-game set. Mets and Braves coverage begins with Pepsi Max pregame live 6:30 tomorrow right here on SNY. 2-2 to Beltran with the bases full. And Carlos watches wide, and it's 3-2. So that'll set the merry-go-round in motion behind Veras, and Clint Hurdle could hardly watch.
This is one of those rare times that you could have a 3-run single here with Reyes on first base.
Tolley, Murphy, and Reyes all get set to run. 3-2 to Beltran. And he walked him to force it a run. And it's 9-7 New York. Tolley trots in with the insurance run on the 4th walk of the inning for Jose Veras. Now, the only hit of the inning was Polino's leadoff single, but the Mets have taken advantage of Veras' inconsistency. Clint Hurdle takes the baseball, and Daniel McCutchen will come in to try to finish this bottom of the 8th. Then a big points since the Mets were down 7-0, including the manager, who has called all the right shots today. And now the Mets are up 9-7. Daniel McCutchen will come on to try to finish the bottom of the 8th.
Well, Daniel McCutchen, who came in here to Citi Field only giving up 1 earned run, has been touched in his last 2 relief outings against the Mets for a couple of runs.
Now Jason Bay will try and add to this lead. Jason is 0 for 2 today. He's walked and been hit by a pitch. Murphy now at third, Reyes at second, and Beltran at first. 2 runs home here in the 8th inning. The Mets have grabbed the lead on a single, 4 walks, a wild pitch, and a balk. And Bay takes a strike from McCutchen, 0-1. Bay, the 8th man up in the inning. Well, not to be overlooked in what the Mets have accomplished this afternoon is the fact that they've gotten 3 scoreless innings out of their bullpen, which had been struggling so badly. Burdack, Parnell, Isringhausen, each with a scoreless inning to give the Mets a chance to come back. And K-Rod getting ready to finish the deal. It's been 11 years since the Mets have come from 7 runs down to win a game. The club record for comebacks is an 8-run deficit. They did that against the Astros back in '72. Bay lays off, and it's 1-2. Bay fouls it off. You know, I was just looking at that shot of Terry Collins and thinking of something Terry said this morning. He was talking about his reactions last night, and he was asked about, you know, his reputation of being a little too fiery and maybe being a little over the top. And he said, you know, I've matured and I've tempered that a little bit. He said, but I'm still pretty competitive. He said, if we were playing ping pong, I'd try to kick your butt.
Yeah, he's got a great desire to win. You're right.
And you can see it in the way he has handled himself the last 24 hours. Here's the 1-2 to Bay. Struck him out to end the inning. So McCutchen puts an end to it, but the Mets with a 2-run 8th inning against Jose Veras, who hurt himself with 4 walks, a balk, and a wild pitch. But it all started with a Ronnie Polino hit. The balk, the wild pitch, and the Mets lead 9-7 after 8. Ninth inning, 9-7 New York. And Xavier Paul leads off for the Pirates and takes ball 1. Changes for the Mets. Josh Tolley, who pinch hit, stays in behind the plate. Jason Pridey takes over in right field. And Francisco Rodriguez on to try to save it.
15 straight saves for Francisco Rodriguez. Is surprise. Beltran taken out of right field. But
now Beltran drew the walk in the 8th inning. I didn't think we saw anything amiss during that time at bat.
You know, he's been playing a little bit with a tight hamstring. Day game after night game. Maybe some fresh legs out there. That's all.
Well, we'll certainly find out about that after the game. Right now at issue is K-Rod trying to lock down what would be the Mets' biggest comeback win in 11 seasons. Paul has had a big day. He's gone 3 for 4. He was at the plate when Garrett Jones was picked off to end the top of the 8th inning, and that looms large now with the Mets having put up a pair in the bottom of the inning. Mets have gotten fine bullpen work today. Burdack for an inning, Parnell for an inning, Isringhausen for an inning. Yeah, there's a good-looking fastball for a strike. 2-2 to Xavier Paul.
Again, the velocity is down from 92, 93 to 88, 89, but that two-seam fastball, much more movement from Francisco Rodriguez.
We've talked so much about Mike Pelfrey and his decision about which fastball to use, and K-Rod has made a complete transformation in that regard. And that changeup gets away. I mean, not the only transformation in his life by any means, but it almost seems like he's come back not only a different person with the anger management training and all that, but really a different pitcher as well.
Well, I think to me he's open to not having to strike everybody out.
And maybe that is related. I don't know.
Yeah.
3-2 to Paul. And he golfs one foul. Well, you just can't walk Xavier Paul in this spot with a 2-run lead. Josh Harrison on deck, and then Andrew McCutchen for the Pirates in the ninth. Three-two. Hit in the air to right field. Pridey going back toward the gap, but he won't get there. And Paul has his 4th hit of the day. He turns second. He'll easily make it to third. Xavier Paul with his 2nd triple of the year to lead off the 9th inning.
Oh, what a day for Xavier Paul. And you talked about Garrett Jones being picked off the inning prior. Great triple to the right center gap before Pridey can get to it. Xavier Paul, always known for his speed. Now we're talking about a guy that's an infielder, learning how to play the outfield to get some playing time. Playing time he has.
So the Pirates get the tying run to the plate here in the 9th with Josh Harrison coming up.
Come on, Josh.
And it's fouled away. Ronnie, I'm going back and looking at my scorecard here, and the way the Mets wound up using their bench in the 8th inning, I think the reason Terry made the move to Jason Pridey in right field was simply to flip the batting order. He put K-Rod in the 3-hole so that his turn wouldn't come up for a couple of innings, and put Pridey in the 6th spot. This way, in case the Pirates tie the game, he can use K-Rod for another inning if he has to. 0-2 to Harrison, who's gone 1 for 4 today. With that, Terry's used his entire bench, and used it in extraordinary fashion, you'd have to say.
Yeah, plus a starting pitcher.
Capuano, who got half of a pinch hit at bat. Here's the 0-2 to Harrison. Just off the corner, a ball and 2 strikes. Harrison playing in his 3rd big league game. And he takes it low and away, 2-2. Harrison has already proven himself equal to some tough spots in his brief major league career. Has had hits to drive in runs late in each of the last 2 games. David Wright getting ready for his trip to the doctor tomorrow, hoping his team can hang on to a huge win today. 2-2. And it's lifted to shallow center. In comes Pagan. Paul is at third. You can't imagine he's going to try it, and he won't. His run means nothing. That's the first out here in the ninth. Let's see what's coming up on Lincoln Postgame Live. Chris Carlin and Bobby Ojeda will let us know what's coming up. All right, guys, now 2 outs still to get for K-Rod as Andrew McCutchen steps in. McCutchen 2 for 4 today. He's driven in a pair of runs, stolen a base, and scored 2 as well. The corners have to stay in against McCutchen's speed, and the curveball is down for ball 1. McCutchen, the tying run at the plate in a 9-7 game. He's hit 9 home runs this year. And the guy on deck, Neil Walker, hit a bomb already today. Paul at third and 1 out. And McCutchen with a big cut fouls it back 1-1. Walker hit one to spaces rarely visited in this ballpark.
He's had quite a series because you remember he hit that ball that Pagan caught. He knocked Willie Harris down at third base with a line drive.
He can hit. McCutchen takes a curveball for a strike, and it's 1-2. He gave up on that one, and it bent over.
He's not the first. This was as good a crackling curve as you're going to see.
So now Frankie ahead 1-2.
He struck him out. 2 down.
Curveball for a strike. So the next time you see one, you have to go after it. And that's what happened to McCutchen there. Nice block by Josh. Getting down, smothering that baseball, and applying the tag.
So now the Pirates are down to their final out. Neil Walker hit a 2-run homer back in the second inning. Also drove in a run with a first inning ground out. The Pirates scored 3 in the first, 3 in the second, and 1 in the third off Mike Pelfrey to go up 7-0. But Pelfrey threw up a couple of zeros after that. The bullpen is at 3 2/3 scoreless as the Mets have rallied. And now K-Rod trying to put on the finishing touches against Walker, whose home run today was his 7th of the year. And Walker takes ball 1.
Fastball, can't connect much better than Neil Walker did to places we've very rarely seen baseballs go.
Walker, the Pittsburgh native, #1 draft pick by the Pirates, who emerged last year. And that bends in for a strike. 1-1. Frankie's got the good curveball working today. This is the one he came to the big leagues with in 2002 for the Angels, helping lead them to a world championship. One and 1 to Walker. And he pulls it through the hole, a base hit. So he got a curveball to hit, drives in Xavier Paul, and now the Met lead is 9-8. So Walker drives in his 4th run of the game, and it gets even more interesting.
Well, what a day for Neil Walker. After a tough curveball backdoor, this one catches a little more of the plate. Murphy on the line, easy base hit to right field.
So now the tying run is at first base, and Lyle Overbay will come to the plate. Overbay 0 for 3 and a walk today, 3 for 15 in this series. So it's come down to the nub for K-Rod. Now trying to protect a 1-run lead. The Pirates now have 14 hits in the game, and they've scored for the first time since the 3rd inning. 2 out and Overbay. First pitch swinging, pops it up. Justin Turner settles under it, and the ball game is over. K-Rod gives up a run in the 9th, but secures the Mets' biggest comeback victory since 2000. They were down 7-0, and the Mets rally to win it 9-8. Less than 24 hours after Terry Collins calls out his team climbs an enormous hill.
Well, it might not be the way that Terry Collins drew it up, but what a win to come from behind. It's down 7 runs early. Had an inning where they had a single, 4 walks, and balk to score the 2 go-ahead runs, and their much beleaguered bullpen. And 25 2/3 innings of work coming into today. They give up 32 runs, only 1 run in 4 innings of work today.
A big day for Carlos Beltran, who began the comeback with a 3-run homer, helped it out with a bases-loaded walk. He drove in 4 runs on the day as the Mets took advantage of some Pittsburgh mistakes. They scored the tying run on a passed ball. They got the help from a balk and a wild pitch to take the lead, and they wind up winning it 9-8. Coming up tonight on Geico Sports Night, get continued coverage of the Mets-Pirates series finale, plus interviews, highlights, and recaps of everything New York sports. Geico Sports Night tonight at 10:30 on SNY. Big day for the Mets. Their biggest comeback win in 11 years. They win it 9.